Seeking the truth, dropping in week after week. Yeah. Last 24, lay it out on the table. True crime experts peeling back every angle, looking for answers real exact. Pin the timeline, track by track. Wrongs telling tales, she keeps us in line. Every little detail, every tiny sign. They break it all down at Dago's Cafe. Coffee on the counter, new case, same day. Welcome to the verdict room, where we're seeking the truth, no spin. Bringing you the facts so raw, let the evidence speak again. Exposing all the secrets, looking for the lies in the cracks. They throw revelations at your feet till the gavel comes down on the facts. Hey! Typically unique, but the method is clean. Red string on the board, map out every scene. Replay the last call, rewind the last text. If it don't add up, they on to what's next. Side eyes, alibis, tear them apart. Trail through the dark with a flashlight heart. Bronx on the story, keeping pace on the track. Every minute, every motive, never holding it back. Welcome to the verdict room, where we're seeking the truth, no spin. Bringing you the facts so raw, let the evidence speak again. Exposing all the secrets, looking for the lies in the cracks. They throw revelations at your feet till the gavel comes down on the facts. Week after week, you know the sea's still warm. Cold case heat brewing up in the storm. From the Bronx to the booth, they connect every clue. When the hammer hits the wood, you know the verdict is you. Welcome to the verdict room, where we're seeking the truth, no spin. Bringing you the facts so raw, let the evidence speak again. Exposing all the secrets, looking for the lies in the cracks. They drop the gavel one last time and the truth keeps pulling you back. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, happy Saturday.
How are you?
Same to you.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Good to see you guys again.
Yes,
Another
it's a
week has
pleasure.
passed,
This week went so fast.
Super fast.
and it was a crazy one for sure.
Thank you, On
Yes.
Top X, for starting the show off with a bang, sending a super sticker. We appreciate
Yeah.
you.
Well, there's a lot
Absolutely.
happening in this Idaho 4 case, and the book
Man.
go fast.
In a very short period of time, yes. Very much so. I agree. So, ladies, how are you? Each of you, Miss Logan, how are you today?
I am excellent. How are you?
Wonderful, thank you. Miss Kim, how are you today? Can you hear me, Kim? Uh-oh. And Mikey, how are you today, sir?
Oh, good. I'm running typically behind at the moment.
Yes. Kim, can you hear me? Uh-oh. Here we go. We've been having technical issues, folks. That's why we're running late. My apologies. But again, today, guys, we have an amazing show set up for you guys here at the verdict room. Andrew Myers, attorney Andrew Myers, is going to be joining us along with attorney Yoli Medina. I think I said it right. I always mess up her last name, Medina. Both amazing people. Andrew has a channel that he runs as well. Him and Yoli together, they put out really interesting and very fact-based information, in my opinion, and they help us a lot with what we are trying to understand in some senses with this case, I should say. So they are joining us today. Andrew did interview Mr. Christopher Whitcomb for the new book that has just dropped. A lot of you have it. A lot of you don't. The new Broken Plea book that has come out on the 28th. A lot of interesting pieces of information coming out of this now. Christopher Whitcomb is the author. Has done a lot of interviews with a lot of people. Andrew did do one with him as well. So I'm very interested to see Andrew's take on things with this, as well as Yoli's. And I think Kim dropped out again to fix herself. So hopefully we'll have her fixed Okay. She's going to restart. She'll be back. But again, that being said, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and bring Andrew and Ms. Yoli up here to join us. So thank you guys so very much. Please make sure to hit the like button, share this out. Moderators, please make sure to share Andrew's link to his channel as well, please.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Good to see you both. Thank you for joining
Hi.
us today. How are you?
Fine.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
How are you?
Absolutely.
And it's Medina, by the way.
Medina. Sorry
yeah.
about that, Yoli. I'm so sorry.
There is a city in Ohio, I think that's Medina.
Medina. That's why I
Yeah.
said it the other way, because I'm used
Yeah.
to Medina, Ohio. So my apologies for that.
I get that a lot.
And how are you both today?
Good. Good,
Well,
thank you.
Well,
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, I know, Andrew, you were able to read the book. Yoli, did you read the book as well? Yes. Okay.
yes.
All right. Very interesting book for sure. I have a lot of things that I have to say about it and feel about it. So, and again, you guys were able to meet Miss Logan. Of course, you guys know Mike. Kim, like I said, she's having a little bit of technical issues. She's going to be back in here soon. Thank you, SRB. Guys, there's a link to Yoli, Yoli
thank
Yo
you.
Law. Make sure you guys subscribe to that channel, please, as well as Mr. Myers' channel as well will be dropped in here. And if you haven't done it yet, you're missing out. I'm telling you, be highly disappointed if you don't subscribe to both these amazing creators.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Tandy, both. SRB too. So as we said at the very beginning, there's been a lot of stuff going on this past week, 2 weeks, I'll say, within the Idaho 4 case. As we all know, we've all followed for the past 3+ years, almost 4 going on. And it's all coming down the hill pretty quick too, I'm going to say. Any thoughts? I guess I'll go with you, Yoli. Any thoughts on everything that's popped up recently and how you think the case is headed so far?
Well, I mean, I think all of the information in the book was super interesting. I know that Christopher Whitcomb and I believe it's Brent Turvey, they talked about a lot about the chain of custody. And in our episode that Andrew and I did, we focused on chain of custody because that's kind of like a legal thing, you know?
Right.
And, you know, the admissibility of the chain of custody. And, you know, just from my point of view, I see that I don't believe that the chain of custody would have been excluded on a motion, because it would be up to the jury, because there is a written chain of custody. The question is whether it's credible. And that would you know, you would have to, you know, the court can't make that determination. It's a question of fact.
Sure.
So
sure.
my opinion is that it would have been admissible, but it would have been fair game for the defense to attack it and bring the person whose handwriting that is and ask them the questions and find out all about their alleged technical tracking, you know, with the barcode, because I know the ISP uses barcodes. I didn't know that the Moscow Police Department used them, but it's possible that they do. But this would be all for cross-examination for the defense. So that was very interesting in the book, because I did see a picture of the other thing was where the knife sheath was found. I did see a picture of the document. I did see a picture of the document that was handwritten, and it said it was found on the floor next to victim 3. And, you know, I talked to the author, Christopher Whitcomb, and I asked him, is it your understanding that that was written contemporaneously with going through the house? And he said, yes. And I'm like, well, okay, that's a pretty big one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have to agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Andrew, go ahead, Logan. I'm sorry.
I just think it's crazy that for a death penalty case, they had seemingly not very much evidence, and the evidence that they did have now is coming out that there's issues with all of it, which to me would leave so much reasonable doubt. Can I ask both of you how you first jumped into this case and thought, something's not right here?
You want to go, Andrew?
Sure. First of all, I agree with everything Yoli just said. She said it probably more articulately than I would have said, but the way I jumped into it was watching people like yourselves and like everybody here and reading the PCA, and the PCA just none of it made sense. The timeline didn't make sense. How could one person do what he is alleged to have done in that very brief timeline? what is this thing about a frozen shock phase? That it doesn't exist. There's no such thing in the diagnostic statistical manuals. What's this about the bushy eyebrows? What's this about the WSU officers, pegging his car on the 29th of November? It's just, from my very first impressions of the case, just from the PCA, which turns out largely to be bogus at this point, it just was a puzzle that the pieces didn't fit. So that's how I jumped into it. And I was just starting to, as Yoli can tell you, I was just starting to podcast then. I've only been doing this for 3 years, and it just jumped out at me. And my co-host at that time, Lainey Law, is a non-attorney, but a bright person who's in engineering school. And she, a potential type of person on the jury, she also said, this doesn't make any sense. We got to get more deeply into it. So that's the answer to your question. How did I get into it?
Nice.
Okay, as for me, what happened is because of COVID, things were very slow court-wise, and my cases were all stuck. So I had a lot of time on my hands at that time, and I've always followed true crime, and I started getting into this case when they arrest. I was following this case on the news and on YouTube, and then when they arrested the guy, or Brian Koberger, they talked about how they did it and everything, and I thought, oh my goodness. Like, why did they need to have to go break down his door? Like, that was my first impression, was like, what?
Yeah.
That was one of my first impressions. And I was kind of surprised that they did that. And I was thinking he must be very dangerous, or he must, I was thinking like he must be a really bad guy.
Yep, right.
And then
right.
I read the probable cause affidavit, and I couldn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, right?
And then that map they posted that picture of a map. Like, what is this? A judge if I were the judge looking at it, I'd be like, okay, this doesn't tell me anything. Okay. And then insofar as the DNA, they just said, we got DNA, something. And it was so unclear. Like, okay, who? Like, you would put facts in there, like at this time, so-and-so, swabbed the DNA, from whatever, or picked up the trash. And, it was all the FBI that did that got the trash. So in the PCA, he's making declarations that he didn't personally do, and he's not saying who, what, when, how. The whole PCA was who, what, when, how, what. And then again, the frozen shock phase and the two roommates not calling 911 earlier, all of that got me interested in the case. And then as I was following it, I was just outraged. And one night I got frustrated and ended up calling on CJ's show. And I was like, I don't think they have the right person.
Yeah. A lot of people kind of fell into that the same way, Yoli. I love your articulation of that too. In my opinion.
Yeah, because before he pled guilty, it was all about innocent until proven guilty, because the media was just crucifying this guy. It was disgusting. They were acting like he was the killer. He's the killer. Like, it was like, whoa, wait, innocent until proven guilty. And then after he pled guilty, I'm still interested because of the process. I want to see, and all the secret documents, the secrecy. I'm like, my goodness, is this some kind of CIA type of thing?
Thank you. There was so much secrecy in front of this case, and granted, they slapped the national security label on top of it conveniently. But like, I've never seen a case ever in my life where, it was so evident that this man was guilty until proven innocent, truly and honestly, which they never could do. Okay, and Brian Koberger, I've said this 3 million times, as everybody has heard me say, Brian Koberger was convicted of this crime in the court of public opinion. It did not happen by the prosecution in Latah or Ada County, in my opinion. It was the world that had him based on media coverage and everything else. And that's where we're sitting with this at this point, in my opinion. Welcome back, Kim. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Andrew, any thoughts to add on to what Miss Yuli just said?
Well, yeah, the thing I agree with everything she said. She articulates it so well. That's why I
Yeah.
love having her as a co-host. But
Yeah,
the
it's
thing that really
amazing.
stands out to me, and like you've said, what you said a million times, I've said it a million times, but it stands out more glaringly every day. Just the shroud of secrecy over this whole case. Everything was hush hush. There's something we don't know. There's something way deep under the surface that may or may not come out in the near future. And the reason that I say that is because if you remember, the very first non-dissemination order came very early in the case in January of 2023. Everything was hush hush. Everything had to be filed under seal. Everything was a big secret. Then, okay, voila, the case goes down to Boise, and we have Judge Hippler. And the very first day, in addition to saying, "Well, I wish I could say I'm happy to be here, but why start with a mistruth?" He said,
Yes.
don't assume that everything is going to be secret. Don't assume that we're going to, keep everything muffled. So I thought, a breath of fresh air. We're going to start
Right.
hearing things. But he pretty quickly did a 180 and started, keeping everything a secret. So now, here we are now, 10 months after the change of plea.
Right.
And we still don't know. They're going through all the documents at a snail's pace. And what is the big, deep, dark secret at this time, now that they got their guy and they got him in jail and there he is? What's the deep, dark secret? Yes, I can understand they've got to redact, the names of minors. They've got to redact social security numbers. They've got to all of us know that is something that we must, redact in our documents. But how long would it really take them to redact all that? There's some big, huge, deep, dark secret lurking underneath this case.
And something you just said kind of flipped a little switch for me, and it makes me wonder. He did do that. Hippler said, we're gonna unseal everything. We're gonna have full transparency here, so on and so forth. He started doing it, and then all of a sudden the brakes. Whoa, red light.
What did he find? What did he find?
Thank you. Yeah, I think he found something as he was unsealing and said, "Nope, stop it. We can't do this. I want to know what that is." Good point, Andrew. Very good point, sir.
And it seems like that probably happened twice because, like you said, it happened right from the get-go before they went in front of Hippler, and then Hippler did it. What are your thoughts? Like, what do you think? Have you seen a case like this before where things have been covered at like the gag order and the sealing of everything? Have you seen cases like that? What would be reasons for doing that?
Oh, I've never.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. We do this all the time. We fight with each other.
Rock, paper, scissors.
You can both answer.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Go ahead.
The answer to your question, Kim, is no. I've never seen a case like this that's so secret. And before I was an attorney, a million billion years ago, I was a reporter. I was a TV and radio reporter for a decade before I went to law school. And we could usually get people to talk, maybe not necessarily on the record, but we could get attorneys to talk. We could get them to come outside of their offices and talk to us. So no, the answer to your question is no. I've never seen anything as secret as this. I mean, look at the Mickey Steins case. It's all out there, whether we agree with it or not, or however, it's all out there on the table. What about the Aaron Spencer case? It's all out there on the table. Yeah. So no is the answer to your question. I've never seen a case with this shroud of secrecy on it ever. So there's something lurking.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look at the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case where she is a minor and we're getting her autopsy information and everything. Yeah. It's just wild. And this case is closed and we still can't get anything.
Exactly.
The people who were supposed to keep this under seal were the people that were leaking information. Because, I don't know what this investigation into the leak is about, because you have your people, the people that leaked it. You have Hunter and Emily. I would assume Hunter, since he was a first responder, would be covered under this gag order. Just like the DMV lady, she kept her mouth shut until she was told that the gag order is lifted. She kept her mouth shut. Okay, yes. So what investigation do you need? You have this person on TV talking about when he found the bodies, and so what investigation? What do you need to investigate, whether it's him or not? I mean, you have that, and you have Dateline saying that law enforcement gave them the information from Brian's phone.
Yeah.
So you have the perpetrators. Like, what do you have to do? You have to find out which one did it. I mean, who had access to it? I mean, it's just unbelievable.
It is. It is truly. Kim, anything to add to that at all?
No, I feel the same way. We all feel the same way. Like, what is it? What is it? And we keep searching, like looking at other cases. Like, I'm trying to find an example of like, what could this mean? And it looks like it's something maybe we've never seen before.
I agree. Yeah. And Mike, anything to add, sir?
It's just, I guess it's kind of mind-boggling that, some people, I'm not saying anybody here, but some people think that, when the FBI gets involved, that, it's, it may be in a little bit safer of hands.
Yeah.
But I guess in reality that, how much some of these small towns just really can override any higher, authority to just push things by. And there's no regulation for things that you think there would be.
Very good point.
I've been recently trying to put on different hats and look
I'll be
at
right back, guys. Keep going.
each situation kind of from a different point of view. And I just recently, this past week, looked at this leak of information in a different way. And I thought maybe that was strategic for other reasons. I could be way off, but I thought about it.
I think the current one is, in my personal opinion, like whatever Whitcomb has brought out. I mean, there's some odd things.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any author can just roll up in there and get that before a plea deal is even made. I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't think that's a regulation.
Well, they had whole documentaries. They had books. They had documentaries. All this Howard Bloom about how the conversation that he had with his father. Like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
What? It was more fiction than anything else. And we interviewed Howard Bloom, Andrew and I.
Yes.
And boy, did we get
hate. We got a lot of hate for that. Oh,
Yeah.
I lost subscribers. We lost subscribers. People,
really?
people.
Oh
just,
my gosh.
Yeah, they weren't happy that we even, and freedom of information. Freedom of press. I'll interview anybody. I don't care. I'll interview anybody. Because I want to hear everybody's viewpoint and then put it all together. Give me the opportunity to hear you, and then we'll put it all together like a puzzle. But yeah, we got a lot of hate for that. Oh my gosh.
I guess that's not a good idea.
So I'm thinking now. We Yoli and I asked people the other week if we should have him back on because he's changed his tune a little bit.
Yeah, he has.
And a lot of people have said, "Yeah, have him on." And I'm like, "You guys have got to promise me that you won't hate us and subscribe us." So, yeah, I'm toying with having him back on. But one of the things that really struck me about this book was, 2 years ago we did an episode. 18 reasons why it wasn't just one perp. It was at least two or more. So the things in this book really amplified our feelings about that. It had to be more than one person for a lot of reasons that Whitcomb went into. And I've always felt that way. I've always felt that way from the beginning.
Well, I always thought that it could be one person, but somebody else had to be cleaning or holding the people down, doing something, holding the victims. But one person physically could have done it, but he would need to have help holding them down. Do you know what I mean? One person could have physically done the unaliving, but other people had to be involved to help, not necessarily injure do the wounds, but help in other ways. It just seemed like a drug frenzy, crazy mess.
Agree.
I have to think that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, didn't we learn that there were 3 different edged weapons too? Like 3 different.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Dr. Turvey related to that and played into that situation for sure. Yeah.
So just to add on with what Yoli is saying, would definitely need more people to make it happen, but I think it makes it more unlikely. What do you think about having these other weapons? Like, is one person gonna, exchange
only got 2
them
hands.
out?
Right.
Hand it to him.
The doctor. One of the
Unless it was an
statements in
octopus.
that autopsy report was that it wasn't identified that any one of those wounds allegedly came from a K-bar.
Exactly.
It could have. They said it was consistent with.
Could have, but it didn't for sure point to. Right. Exactly. She's right.
Well,
And
when the coroner, Kathy Mabbitt, was directly asked at the very beginning, were they stabbed? She really struggled to answer that question definitively. I mean,
Yes.
and then we found out later that she was saying it's more like gouges. It's like less
Yes.
like slits and more like gouges. So yeah,
She definitely had a lot of faces where she was put in the middle of things that you could almost tell that she was uncomfortable with.
She was very uncomfortable, in my opinion. And I've said, in my opinion, from the beginning, we seem to be talking about weaponry at this point, that my biggest thought on this immediately came from what we learned, what was what we would call a machete, okay, as a main weapon, folks, based on different things we've seen within the crime scene photographs, the autopsy, you know, the different things we've learned from the autopsy, so on and so forth, made me start wondering about that. And it fits to me more than a 7 inch by 2 inch, not even full 2 inch bladed knife would match some of these injuries to me. Okay. And it's just, I can't get past it. I can't, I own one, you know, I've showed it many, many times. As I look at it, you even see in the photographs in Xana's bedroom, the gouges in the mattress. Okay. And the width of the gouges does not match the little tiny knife that they're saying did this, so on and so forth. So why does it have to be this knife? Because this knife sheath exists. That's the biggest thing right there. And I just think that's not enough for me. It's never been enough for me.
Didn't they? I think it recently was a statement by Mr. Whitcomb that had come out in this book that Brian's actual Amazon history that he ordered this knife after the murders to replace.
They were saying they were trying to say that he went in and was reordering it to replace it per se, and I don't believe that's what that was.
The
No.
sheath.
I
They're
think
saying
that's
Yeah, or
what
the
they
knife
ordered
sheath.
it.
The knife sheath. I'm sorry, but yeah, well, both. I think what happened with that was what I would call, because I have Amazon, I order a lot. I'm a collector. Predictive selling is what I believe it is. Okay, if you've ever looked at anything on Amazon, it's going to show it to you. We've all
Yeah.
seen that.
It comes back up the next day, and for the next, couple of years later, yeah.
So whether
price
you've
drop.
ordered it, yeah, yeah. You know, so if he did buy the knife, whatever, he could have looked for anything. You know, his mother put a statement out, which I don't know if everybody's seen. There was a statement that they put out from her that she told her son to buy this knife to take with him because he liked to go hiking, so on and so forth, on different trails, which again, it is what it is. We've never seen a receipt for it, ever. They've never showed nor provided a receipt. They go and purchase their own version of it. They went and buy everything that they say Brian bought, but they never show anything more than that. And I just have a problem with that. I always have. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of different issues with this. And I'm rambling again, so my apologies.
No, you make a lot of sense.
There's a question in the chat that I want to address, and it says chain of custody for the bodies. Yes. Doesn't coroner take custody, not MPD, in the dark of night, and maybe leave two behind for tomorrow so they can get more body tags?
Mm-hmm. Seems like
Well,
they took charge of a lot of things that maybe they shouldn't have, huh?
well,
Well,
again, yeah,
So
it's been a
what I
big problem.
what I was going to say is I don't know how it works in small towns, but normally there is a chain of custody for a body. In this particular case about the coroner, I'm not 100% sure how it would work, but there needs to be a chain of custody for the bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. Every scene. Sorry, guys. Every scene I've ever been on as a first responder, we show up, we do what we do. Or not MPD, law enforcement shows up as well, especially in a situation like this. They're usually there first. They have to clear the scene to make sure it's safe for a first responder to go in and do their job. Okay. Which this was way off, but okay. I'll give it that. And then we go in, we call whatever it is, and then the coroner shows up. You know, sometimes you got to wait. That's fine. That didn't happen in this case, you guys. The prosecutor showed up, the lead detective show up, everybody shows up. Meanwhile, the coroner is posted over on the road next door. She was there at 1:30 that afternoon. We heard it on the body cam and claimed, "Oh, Mabbitt's here. She's ready to go." Kathy said, "Whenever you're ready." Okay, fine. She claimed she was letting them do their job. What did they need to do before she did her job? Nothing, in my opinion, from what I've ever seen. I looked up Idaho law. It even claims that that she's supposed to go in and take custody of the situation. She's supposed to call the death what it is, take custody of the bodies, and then they come in and do their forensics and everything else. Is typically how it works. Not in this case. And it was weird to me, very strange to me. The prosecutor and his assistant go in the house before anybody else even goes in. That bothers the hell out of me. I'm very uncomfortable with that too. So there again, Idaho has its own rules, it seems.
Interesting.
And they continue.
Yeah. Now, moving forward, I know once again I keep rambling. So everybody has read this that has had it, looked into it. Yoli and Andrew, do you feel that there? And you spoke with Chris. I'll show a little clip of that here shortly. Do you believe, after reading this book, that Mr. Whitcomb has given any nuggets of information in here that could help us in the future see something a little different than what we've been seeing?
Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, he gave us more detail. I mean, the two things that I took away from the book were, as I said before, I've never believed that one. And Yoli, I agree like 99% of the time. I can't believe that one person did all of this. Someone had to help him. Somebody had to be there. And he gave a lot of thought to that. He also gave a lot of additional thought to the fact that there was, in fact, a cleanup. I mean, he points out that that Maddie's room and Xana's room were just bloodbaths. And as soon as you go outside, there's no footprints. There's no nothing. There's no blood outside of the rooms. And also the mystery about the downstairs bathroom on the first floor where Bethany was. I mean, all these college kids live there and it's a party house. People are coming and going. And the bathroom on the first floor was pristine.
Yeah,
not even
a
roll of toilet paper in there. No hair brush, no hair dryer, no, stuff that kids have, whether they're boys or girls. I mean, come on now. I mean, it's so obvious there was a cleanup.
When he brought that up, I went, shit, that's simple. Missed that.
Yeah. Lana pointed out last night, especially being that Bethany was down there on the ground level by herself. That bathroom probably should have been full of everything she owned. Okay.
Stuff.
Everything. Yeah. Loofah sponges, wash rag, whatever, towels, toilet paper. There was nothing in there.
They don't look like the cleanest girls. Sorry.
Dirty clothes, all kinds of stuff. Hair curlers, I've lived with women.
Oh, yeah. Stuff you don't touch, Andrew.
I was married. I had daughters. I can't even tell you what was in the bathroom.
Yes.
But for it to be totally clean, nuh-uh.
And even looking at the complete rest of the house, there's little pieces of garbage and stuff all over the floor. I mean, in every room except that bathroom.
Right outside the bathroom door, Logan, there was bottles of like little shot bottle lids on the corner and beer cans over there and a box here. And it's like that bathroom didn't. Now, the tub, I will say we found some dirt in the bottom of the tub, but it is what it is. The rest of the bathroom was like you said, it was empty. It was spotless. It's like non-existent. And again, from my understanding, this is the only bathroom that had a tub in it. Okay. The other two bathrooms were stand-up showers. Again, from I have two daughters and a wife. They love baths rather than showers. Okay. So there should have been all sorts of the little soaky things and what do you guys, the bath beads or whatever the hell there was nothing there, you guys, nothing. So it's
suspicious.
Very strange.
Very suspicious. And, I wasn't 100% happy with his answer, but he did give a good answer when I said, as part of the proof that there was absolutely no question that there was a cleanup, the only footprint that is referenced anywhere was the latent footprint outside of Dylan's room. And it wasn't blood. Some kind of a reactant was used to bring it out. So how can okay, even if it was only Brian Koberger, even if he's guilty as hell and he was the only guy, how could he have gone in and done what he's alleged to have done in those two bedrooms and left not a single footprint anywhere, really?
That's a lot of work, Andrew.
And he points out how Chris talked a lot about the common room, he called it, the living room area, okay, where the table was and all that. And he points out the fact that we have spatter on the walls all the way going down to the crown molding before you hit the floor, but not one drop of blood on that floor anywhere. Very, very telling in my opinion.
Most
obviously.
Area with the most diluted blood, huh?
Yeah, right. And then, there's not an ounce on the floor. definitely cleaned up. Okay, and I don't know you guys, but if you don't see it at that point, you got to look again. I guess that's the best way to put it. 100%. So, I don't know, Logan. Anything
Did
to
you
add?
guys notice at the beginning, or not at the beginning, but at some point in the book, one of the points that Whitcomb,
You okay?
I'm gonna have to leave.
What's the matter?
You okay?
Hello? Can you hear us?
I can't hear. I can't.
Oh.
Oh, but what were you going to say?
Keep talking. Oh.
Okay. I don't know why she's having these problems. Ugh.
She was just making a good point too.
Yeah.
How about you, Miss Logan? Were you going to add anything to that? You looked like you were getting ready to say something.
No, I wasn't. I'm just curious, when you guys interviewed Whitcomb, what were your initial thoughts? Did you think that he contradicted himself? Do you think that he's telling the truth? What are your thoughts just in general about him and his writing?
Okay, well, I'll start.
Go ahead, Yoli.
I thought that he was a very interesting person. And this seems like a case that he would write about, looking at his other books. I did question he did give some criticisms of how the knife sheath was handled and actually how the chain of custody didn't make sense. And I felt like, then he would say, no, I think they did a great job. MPD did a great job. So I wasn't sure what to make of that, but I think at the end of the day, he's questioning the system, not any one police officer. So, it took me a while to come to that, because I later saw that Ray has a book and some pages are out.
That's kind of funny how that came about, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think he's questioning the system, and I think the way he came about it is he wants to be friendly. He wants people to like him so that he can get this information out there and so that people can buy his book.
Almost seemed like the lead guy for something.
Yeah.
In my
I agree
opinion.
with that, Yoli.
But going
Andrew.
back to Dago's question about whether this is going to lead to something, the question is, I don't know if it's going to lead to anything, because whatever's going to happen it's up to Brian. I think it is. I mean, it's up to Brian.
Yeah.
He has to decide to do something.
Most definitely. I agree with that. At the very end of, it's all going to depend on Brian. Andrew, anything to add to that, sir?
Well, I agree with what Yoli said. And we went back and forth on our episode because I said, well, he didn't want to be too critical about law enforcement. Then she pointed out that he was critical, at certain times about some of the things that the Moscow Police Department did. I felt that he was pointing out discrepancies that are just run through the whole case. I like the fact that his whole last chapter was all questions. So he said over and over again, he didn't have a theory. He didn't want to push a theory. I'm not sure about that, but I liked talking to the guy, and it wasn't just because he said, oh, we like all your questions, which I know he said that to everybody. But I like the fact that his whole last chapter was just question after question after question, and he left it up there. Our commenters had a lot of great questions, and we want to have him back. Now that I've had time, because I read the book fast. Yoli's a fast reader. I'm a slow reader.
Yeah.
Took me 3 days to sit around and read the whole book. I read the whole book, and then I scribbled out some questions and threw them at him. But now that I've had time to digest it and watch, intelligent people like all of you on the panel here, I have more questions for him, and I'd like him to come back. And I wonder if he will come back, because I know he did that. He did a tour. How many interviews did he do, Dago? A dozen at least?
Quite a few. And my plan has been from the beginning. I helped to interview him with Devil's Advocates. My plan has been, I wanted everybody to get the book, and I wanted to give a couple, 2-3 weeks, let everybody read through the book. And then I was going to have, which he told me then, I'd be happy to join you, Dago, whatever. I'd have him join us and do another interview with him again, and give people the option, since they've read the book, then at that point to ask the questions they want to ask. So I'm with you on that, Andrew, 100%.
Yeah. Did he tell you? Because I saw that episode that you did with Devil's Advocate. I saw that. That was the very first one, I think.
It was, yeah. We did.
Yeah.
Lee did the first. He was lucky enough to get the first interview with him. But at that point, and it was a great one. It was. But I didn't get any of even remotely close to any of the questions I wanted because I had read the book too very quickly. We had a couple days to read before he was coming, and it wasn't even released at that point. We had the special copy that was because of the interview. But thank you so much, Legal Swag. Appreciate that. Absolutely appreciate it so much. And Sluther, thank you for that as well, dear. Very much appreciated. But yeah, and so my plan the whole time was let's give people time to read this. Let's let them look into it, get their thoughts, balanced, and then I'll have Chris join us on my channel and see what we can get all the questions out there then at that point. At least one round of it, because one interview, unless we spend a 48-hour period of time with him, is not going to do it, in my opinion. So go ahead, Yoli.
Oh,
You looked like you were going to say something. I'm sorry.
no, I was reading a comment.
Got to. But I'm going to show real quick, you guys, for those of you that didn't see this. This is just a bit of a clip for those of you that didn't get to see it, and you will if you guys grab that link for Mr. Myers' channel, and you'll be able to see him and Yoli do the interview with Chris.
Thank you.
The full interview, I should say. You definitely don't want to miss this. It was another great one, as they always are. 1 minute here. Let's see what we got.
There we are.
Yes. All right.
How do we as Americans who believe in the American criminal justice system, how do we look and say we have horrific murders of 4 human beings, using Judge Hippler's words? How do we have horrific murders of 4 human beings and say, okay, we got half of them, high five, and say, let's go get a couple.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. You've said that you don't have theories, but just briefly, what do you think about that 8-hour delay?
I talk about that a lot. We got real problems. We have real questions to ask, not just about the 8 hours, but about what the crime scene shows about those 8 hours. It's not just the 8 hours after the crime scene, after the crimes, the minutes between the 4:17:21 or 22:23, whatever, of the audio of the loud bang and what people allege is Xana yelling. That violence on that tape and the time the car drove off in 3 minutes. How is it conceivable that you match that timeline with what we now know to be, based on the prosecution's pilot sentence report, based on what we see there? And another thing that I talk about in the book that we haven't even talked about is the police asked Bethany Funk very specifically about this story. We all heard the story about the firecrackers or the fireworks or whatever else. She said, and I have the audio recording. It might even be on the internet now. I don't even know if it's been released. But in that interview, she says very, very specifically, all I remember is I heard a loud bang, and I kind of came around, and I heard the sound of the ping pong table moving, and I heard the sound of cups being moved around. That's what she said. I'm not even summarizing. That's what she said. So we go back to, how did the beer pong table stay there while Xana was fighting for her life running through it? There are a million questions. But the timeline to explain how a lone killer got in, attacked Xana, ran down, killed her in the struggle on the floor, then hacked up her 6'4", 228-pound boyfriend in the bed 3 feet away, then somehow came back out and got out of the house. That 8 hours might be an issue, but for me, the major timeline issue to a reasonably bright person would be, how the hell did that happen in 3 minutes? And we haven't even got to the object, right?
What again, object? You guys, great interview to the object. The object, yes. You guys need to check out the full interview on Andrew's channel between him and Yoli and Mr. Whitcomb. Great interview, by the way.
It was a great interview, yeah.
Always. They do a great job over there. But at that point there, he's talking about something interesting as well, you guys. The whole thing was interesting, but I want to back up to something real quick, if you don't mind, Andrew, and I hope Kim's able to jump back in here.
Yeah, so too.
I know she's having all these problems.
I think her internet is freaking out or something.
It's something, yeah. She's in chat, she said, but I hope she can try to come back in. But in the book, Andrew and Yoli, in the very beginning of this, and something he said stuck with me. Kim brought it up too. That's why I wish he was here. About Chris made a statement. I can't remember whose interview it was. It might have been Lannis. And he said, many people figured things out. Officer Nunez, Mitch Nunez figured this out from his this, and this one figured this out, and this one figured this out, and this one figured this out, and you guys can figure things out too. And I think a lot of us caught the whole Mitch Nunez figured things out. Well, in the beginning of this, he goes and he talks about how at some point Ethan was their number one suspect in the very beginning.
Right.
And we were, and we remember when he walks in, of course, we didn't see that version of the body cam. It was redacted. And he says, oh my God, he did it to himself, for lack of a better term. And Officer Warner says, how'd you get there? So on and so forth, whatever. So basically he's stating that Ethan took his own life and maybe possibly did what he did to Xana, and that he was the lead suspect. Do you guys have any thoughts about stuff like that point being put in the book and so on and so forth?
Well, I don't know. I mean, given that Ethan had drugs in it, a high amount of amphetamine or Adderall,
yes,
that can make you get a little crazy. You can go into psychosis with that. Some people can.
Sure.
And I don't know what his tolerance was. Maybe he was, he had a high tolerance, but it might explain why. Well, it still doesn't explain the way the second floor was different from the rooms. In other words, it doesn't explain that. But I don't know what to say about that. And I don't know what would have made Nunez think that he did this to himself. From what I understand is the hair that he had in his hand. I do remember in the body cam footage that Nunez said, or maybe it was the other guy, Warner, he said, what's he got there?
Mm-hmm.
The whole squirrel thing happened for a while out here.
And wouldn't you think, to make that statement, wouldn't you think that someone would have had to seen a weapon along the way to go, he took his own life?
Or something. I mean, I don't know if he would be referring to the hair. I mean, what has he got there?
It's very odd. Yeah. A lot of people were saying he thought, does he have a squirrel in his hand? Which makes no sense. That whole rumor started, this and that. Now we know what it actually is. But, and the biggest question with that hair is the only thing they tested it for was,
against
type,
Brian.
Blood.
Type and something else. And then it was against Brian, which we know it's not Brian. So therefore, in turn, okay, we have to look at a multiple perpetrator situation now. If it's not, at the very least, if not even excluding Brian from the whole situation period. But
they could tree out that DNA, off that sheath, huh?
Yeah, right. So
interesting. Yeah.
The whole that situation there with the hair and all that just blows my mind. It completely. That's another question I was going to ask the two of you. Why do you think they would not test it against everything else along? Well, there again, that would go with the same, the blood on the seat that was never tested too. I mean, do you think it's for the same reasoning, or do you have any thoughts at all on those options?
It was just a sloppy investigation from the very beginning. You pointed out, and you've done more research on the Idaho law than I have, but you pointed out the discrepancies with respect to the medical examiner going in. There are a lot of discrepancies from start to finish. I'm not convinced that they did a good job locking that scene down. That's one example, that they didn't do the DNA test on the blood. Outside, the kids were all outside, and they interviewed them within the earshot of each other. I mean, they interviewed Bethany and they interviewed Dylan while they had their blankets wrapped around them, with the other kids sitting there hearing the whole thing. That's not how you do an investigation. I don't care if your excuse is that you're Moscow, Idaho, and you don't have the tax base that New York City has. That's basic police stuff. You don't just casually talk to people. So I think the answer to your specific question, why didn't they do the DNA test? It's just shoddy investigation. They weren't doing stuff by the book.
Yeah, it's like their interviews were like canvassing style talk.
Yeah, all of them. Go ahead, Logan.
What would make Ann Taylor not even test the hair?
See, here's where I think Ann Taylor doesn't have to prove anything.
Right.
she doesn't have to prove anything. If her position is just like the same thing with the house, if her position is Brian was never in that house, so I don't care if you tear it down.
Yeah.
You know, it's just going to raise reasonable doubt as to who heard what because you don't have the house. So you argue that. So it's not in her interest to go and get the hair tested because she's not the one solving the crime. She's defending Brian. And I think to do that, you start investigating the crime rather than defending your client, because that's what you do. You poke holes in the investigation. They didn't do it. Why didn't they do it? I mean, maybe did they think it was Anna's hair? I mean, did she have anything in her scalp? Like was hair? Maybe they saw Anna had stuff removed from her scalp and her hair, and it was Anna's hair. But then, what was the hair upstairs about? It looked like the same type of hair. So I don't know, but I can see why Ann Taylor wouldn't do it, test it, and I mean, maybe there are some defense attorneys that would, so that they could point to the alternate perpetrator. But you could get lost in trying to investigate the case rather than defending your client.
Absolutely.
That's a really good point.
It is.
In my mind, I think, well, and that's partly because I'm not defending Brian, right? So in my mind, I just want to know, but, she knew that it wasn't Brian Koberger's. So wouldn't it be helpful for her to know whose it is so she can say definitively, it's not Brian Koberger's, it's this person. So that's,
Well, what she would have to do, she can't go around, for example, if she were to test it for DNA, let's say it's females, okay, or males, it could have been male, but female or male. And then she can't go around and see if it ties into, Bethany or Dylan because they have attorneys. They're not gonna give anything.
Exactly.
Okay. So how is she going to do that if they have attorneys? It's like you could get lost in trying to prove something and going through their attorneys when, what are you going to do? Do genealogy on it? I mean, she's not investigating the case. It's more reasonable doubt. It's just like we're asking, why didn't you test that? That's what the jury would be asking. Why didn't you test that? And you would ask the lead investigator, why wasn't that tested for anything?
Yeah.
That's an interesting response.
Yeah.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely different. That's a good simple point on, hey, sorry, it's more investigation.
You have to focus. You have to focus on defending your client. That's what your job is. You know what I mean? It's like you could get lost. Believe me, you could get lost.
And not testing it actually, in my mind, would leave way more reasonable doubt than having an answer for that.
It's just, if she tested it, who could she pin it to? How is she going to go about that? How is she going to?
It's a whole other investigation, huh?
Yeah.
In essence, as sad as it sounds.
Have attorneys. Bethany and Dylan have attorneys. Anybody who is going to be talked about the hair is going to be like, I mean, was there anybody who had obvious, gashes in their head? I mean,
that's okay. I think the hair upstairs had been pulled from the roots, they said. So somebody is walking around with a bald patch that may be bleeding or something, that needed to be looked into, in my opinion, for sure. But nobody else, like, you have no idea. How do you know who to go look for? That's a good point. Very understanding. And I like the way, again, that you articulate things, Yoli, always. I appreciate it very much.
Andrew, what do you think?
I don't want to change the subject, but I hate when people say that. I don't want to change the subject. But one question I really have had from the very beginning of this case is whatever happened to the affidavit that Richard Batante filed that said that Bethany may have exculpatory information. I mean, she blew town awful quick after the whole thing. She moved south. She didn't even come back for the sentencing hearing. She had somebody else. She wrote a statement and had somebody else read it. She sure blew town awful quick. And I don't know if anybody's done a FOIA request for any information that she might have, but that's a wild card that I think really should have been answered somewhere along the line. And
I agree.
There's a transcript. There's a transcript of her interview with Batanti, but it's not in the record.
You can't find it.
I did a video on it, a really short video, she had exhibit A and or exhibit whatever number S, whatever it was, and she had listed transcript of interview with Batanti and Bethany Funk.
But we never saw it, and Christopher Whitcomb never looked into it or talked about it in his book.
They came full force with us and said that, Bethany, if I remember correctly, Bethany Funk had exculpatory evidence unique to her alone to exculpate Brian Koberger. And I'm like, okay, great. That's awesome. And then 3 years later, it's never presented. What happened to that? That's a great question, Andrew.
That's a big question, and it's not in his book.
Yeah, agreed. Whatever happened to it, and why did nobody else ever question it? I mean, I've said it here and there. I brought it up, but it's just been forgotten about. How do you forget about something like that when it's put out there the way it was? That's my question.
I agree 100%. People always rag on us whenever we talk about Bethany and Dylan. Leave those kids alone. Well, first of all, they're not kids. They're old enough to vote. They're old enough to go to college. They're old enough to do a lot of things. So that's A, they're not kids. They work and they go to college.
They're not victims either, in my opinion.
No.
But B, it's just awful fishy, the whole thing about them being in the house when all of this stuff happened, and they had to have heard everything. They had to have known that something was amiss. It couldn't have been a prank, even though they like to prank each other. So it's a huge question. Yes, I know I'm going to get hate for saying that, but it's an outstanding question. Oh, we get hate all the time in the comments.
Yeah, so do we.
I think that's going to come to light here more than some of these folks may have thought.
Yeah. But the thing is that Brett Payne attributed statements to Dylan that were not accurate. That frozen shock phase, she never said that.
No. And there's no such thing.
And in her first interview, they asked her about eyebrows, and they said, "Did you see his eyebrows?" And she said, "No." Like, why are you asking? That's a stupid question. But in the very next interview, she said, "I just remember his eyebrows."
Yeah. Just like within the interview with Bethany, where she said, Bethany said, Dylan said, "I think I'd remember a nose like that." But at the same time in the other interview, then she talks about all I could see was his nose. What are you doing here? Like, let's make up our minds for us, please. Sorry.
It's called a suggestive interview.
Yeah. I just don't think she would have been very reliable as a witness because she was she admittedly said she didn't remember. I was drunk. I don't know if it was a dream, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, if she's your main witness, okay, let's go.
Yoli, she answered every question with every answer you can give. Every question that we watched her interview, the one with Vicky Gooch was the best, in my opinion. She answered these questions and said, they'd ask her a question and then she would answer like this. No, I think, I don't remember, but maybe, I think I might have, but I might have dreamt it, but I think, yes. No, hold on. I don't remember. I might have. What are you doing? Like, how is that even allowed to be answered that way without somebody stopping her and going, "Wait, I need you to give me a clear answer. Yes, no, maybe," whatever the hell it was. But all of her questions were answered that way, and they never followed up any of it. It's bullshit. I'm sorry. Excuse my language.
She would have made a terrible witness. She's the kind of witness you'd never want to put on the stand for either side. There were people that even said maybe the state would not even put her on, although they needed to get her on for the bushy eyebrows BS. But there are people that are saying maybe the state wouldn't even put her on. Maybe the defense would put her on because she's so horrible, and she herself raises reasonable doubt about the whole thing.
They would have shredded her, Andrew, in my opinion.
Yes.
They would have shredded that.
I agree.
And her entire statement, in my opinion, was created by law enforcement during her interviews. I think they took a combination of all of them and said, "This is what she said," and threw it into the PCA, which we all knew then it was garbage. I think the only thing out of her entire statement that looked even remotely close to the truth was somebody wearing black, if that's even true. I'm just saying.
Yeah, probably the balaclava. The balaclava, which she didn't know what that was, which I didn't know the word balaclava. Although I used to be a skier and wear a ski mask. That's what we call them up here in New Hampshire, a ski mask. But usually they're in bright colors. But no, you're right. That's about the only thing she said that really made a whole lot of sense.
Truly. And then they even had to draw that for her and say, "Did it look like this?" "Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay, sure. Let's lead the witness some more." Anyway.
But I don't even think the person could have been wearing a balaclava, if you really want to think about it that way, that there was hair in a victim's hand. And if a victim has hair in their hand from fighting a perpetrator, then they probably weren't wearing a mask that covers their hair.
Maybe not one of the perpetrators, because there's definitely more than one, in my opinion. Good point, Logan.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm thinking it was Xana's hair. It could have been Xana's hair, which means were they fighting? But I don't know. It's all speculation at this point because it was the investigation never followed up on that hair. And apparently the hair that Dr. Turvey found that was on the bed frame that was still stuck. They didn't test that either.
I'm glad you brought him up, Yoli, because I kind of wanted to segue into Dr. Turvey a little bit if we can. I think Dr. Turvey's a very interesting point or a part of this case now at this point. By the way, for those of you that didn't know, the custody queens off the clot are going to be interviewing Dr. Turvey 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Monday. So I'm super interested in watching that interview. I can't wait to hear Dr. Turvey. He's a very interesting gentleman. And he doesn't breathe the same air we do. His statement, I love that. He's interesting as all hell, and I'm curious to see his points and thoughts. We've all seen the press release that Ann Taylor put out based on his statements with Christopher Whitcomb in the book, and then outside of the book, so on and so forth, which everybody was kind of shocked. The first thing we've heard from Ann, and I don't know, 9-10 months, and it's that, and we're like, whoa, what's going on here? And everybody goes their directions with it. I'm curious to see, because that's going to be, as of last night, Kristen spoke on that. That's one of the first things they're going to speak on. So I'm curious to see that as well. But moving into this direction, Andrew, Yoli, your thoughts on the situation with Dr. Turvey, and we can start anywhere because there's a wide range, I know. I guess, Yoli, we could start with you. What are your thoughts with Dr. Turvey and his input on the book and his report, any of it, anywhere you want to start?
Well, I haven't. Okay, so when Ann Taylor sent out that press release, I read it and I thought, she's not happy, right?
Right.
I don't know what the confidentiality agreement says and how long it's supposed to be, but I do know that whatever materials he did have, the judge had put them on hold. He did that hold. He said everything that you have must remain in your custody. And that also means, whether that means experts, I think, it's up to interpretation, right?
Absolutely.
Because he said you have to hold all the evidence. You can't, I forget what it was. It was a hold order. And so because of this leak investigation, okay. And now Turvey is talking about the case. Did he know that he wasn't supposed to be talking about it? They did bring out his expert report, right?
Yeah.
So I don't really know what to think of that, other than if he did break the confidentiality agreement, that wouldn't be good. But I don't know what it said. But the fact that he violated it, it's information. If he wants to give it out,
well, his reply to that, I think, if I remember correctly, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, was that he doesn't believe that he put out anything that wasn't already public, that hadn't already been put out there. And him being the professional that he is, with his background, his credentials, I don't expect him that he would do something. I don't expect to see him do something that could, possibly ruin his career or his, credibility, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, but
you took the words out of my mouth, Dago. I was going to say exactly that. Like Yoli said, I haven't seen the confidentiality agreement, or no attorney wants to talk about a document unless we've actually read it. There may have been loopholes. There might have been outs for him. I don't know. But you said exactly what I was going to say. His defense was, I didn't say anything that's already out there. His report had been released some time ago. I forget. And Yoli and I did an episode reading through a lot of that. And more, like you said, why would he want to hurt his reputation where he's young enough he can still do a lot more work during his working years?
Absolutely.
But as a former journalist. I was a reporter for 10 years before I went to law school. I'm glad that somebody's speaking out because there's so much secrecy in this case. I'm glad that somebody is speaking out, and I would want more people to do it. Back when I was a reporter, we learned to work stories around the edges, and I'm glad that somebody's working this story around the edges, and I would hope more people would speak out because the secrecy is just too much, and I'm not going to defend the secrecy and the privacy and the redaction any longer. I'm not going to defend that.
It's not. We can't. I agree with you.
And
Yeah,
if it's the fact that Christopher Whitcomb was out here saying,
I'll be right
Dr.
back.
Turvey said this, Dr. Turvey said that, just because Chris Whitcomb said that Dr. Turvey said something doesn't make it true.
True.
Yeah.
Hearsay. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Welcome back.
It's
she
his
is.
interpretation of what he said. Yeah, it's his
We'll be right back.
understanding. And the other thing is, I think when Ann Taylor put in there that he was giving opinions outside of the scope of his profession, I think she was referring to the saying that because of the chain of custody, the knife sheath would have been inadmissible, and that's not really for him to talk about. He's just saying the problems with the chain of custody. That would be his testimony, and whether it's admissible or not is the attorney's job to get it admitted or excluded, And so I think she got a little upset because, he was kind of like saying, you didn't do a motion in limine on this, and or you didn't do a motion when I brought it to your attention. I mean, I don't know. I mean, she has a client. I don't know. I often worry about how Brian Koberger's state of mind was at that time.
And what's kind of funny with this is, and was it said that last week that that Hitler had called some people in? And I want to know, when was that in reference to Ann's statement? And did her statement come out because this was after the chambers?
Interesting.
You think her statement was after that?
I don't know. I wonder because I think it was Wednesday that I had heard that supposedly it was either Tuesday or Wednesday that happened.
This is new to me. You mean Hitler had to call the lawyers in very recently? I didn't know that.
Allegedly. Yeah, allegedly last week. I heard that on Wednesday. It was posted on the YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know if it was confirmed, but someone did say that was happening. Yes.
But that would kind of follow suit, huh?
And what was the crux? What was the crux of that meeting?
That was I think that was unknown. But if that's in timing with Ann's response, that would be something. And that was just her proving, okay, I got to do my job. They want me to, I got to make this look like, I care about something that they're doing wrong.
I don't know.
Can he call them in for disciplinary, for their conduct?
Yeah.
He doesn't have jurisdiction. I mean, I don't know. What? There's nothing before him.
Right.
There's not a motion before him. So.
And the non-dissemination order, it was dissolved. That's gone.
So.
I don't understand that at all.
Which is interesting because they're not disseminating anything.
Right.
I jumped in when you guys were in the middle of talking about this, and I apologize if it was asked. So if Brian, he takes that plea deal, or did I ask you guys this already? And if he finds out later that there was exculpatory evidence that Ann didn't say, that Ann didn't explain to him, which is what Turvey seems to be implying, then what happens as the lawyer? Then what position does that put Ann Taylor in? And what can Brian do?
I think you were because I think you asked that last night too. Would that be considered ineffective assistance of counsel, so on and so forth? Is that where you were headed with that?
Well, no, but how does that? I've never heard of that before. Hey, I took this plea deal and here's my attorney, and she possibly knew something that she's not disclosing to me as her client. This is all speculation. But it seems like that's what he's hinting at. What does that mean for the case and where he's at?
He did make the statement too. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to throw this on the tail end of what she's saying because it is kind of pertaining to it. he did make the statement about, you know, if you want these answers per se, I'm putting this in layman's terms, then you need to talk to Ann Taylor, but she can't say too much because then she gets in trouble. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So what I was going to say is that she has the relationship with the client, with Brian, okay, and how Dr. Turvey would surmise that she didn't tell him about the evidence. And he's probably surmising that because a normal person, if they knew about that evidence, would say, let's go to trial. But Brian wasn't your average person. And I've always thought from the very beginning, when I heard about his driving around and all the pots, how he used to, the aunt said that he had the pots need to be washed. He had these peculiar habits, that he was likely obsessive compulsive disorder. And he does have that. It's in his record. So he's not only on the autism spectrum, but he has obsessive compulsive disorder. And that's an anxiety-based disorder. So I don't know, I mean, how that would have affected him being in prison or in jail all that time and coming up against a trial. I don't know, but I do know that in the paperwork where she was trying to get an instruction to instruct the jury that he has autism, and it was denied because that's just not what. Well, it was denied because the testimony comes from, the jury's instructed not to make anything about his facial expressions and nothing, they're not supposed to look at that. They're only supposed to look at what comes from the witness stand. So he denied that, and there's no law supporting it. So I understood that. It's kind of unfair, but I understood that. So I think that Brian, it's the relationship she has with Brian, and it's attorney-client privilege, and nobody's going to know about that. So I don't know what they discussed or why he was taking the plea or why she didn't file something immediately. At that point, it was so close to trial, and that's good information to attack the chain of custody in front of a jury. I don't know if you needed to file a motion.
Right.
Because like I said, I don't think it would have been granted because it's about the weight of the evidence and the credibility of the evidence. And the judge doesn't decide that, although he did decide that the killer came in on a white car, drove in on a white car.
So many last minute things.
Unbelievable.
Huh? The ineffective assistance of counsel appellate approach is often used, but it's often misunderstood because different attorneys have different strategies. Someone asked me in our chat, what would you have done different from Ann Taylor? And I thought about it. And, if you put 5 attorneys in the room and ask them their strategy on trying a case, and I know this because I worked at a firm where we would, brainstorm our cases. All 5 attorneys might have a different approach. So to say that there might be an appeal based on ineffective assistance of counsel, I don't know. My understanding is the only real more viable approach would be if there is some newly discovered evidence that clearly is exculpatory, which could not have been found under the use of due diligence prior to the plea. So there's got to be something that's really a bombshell. I hate that word, but there's got to be something that's really a bombshell that really is exculpatory and that it could not have been discovered through the use of due diligence before the plea. So I think that I think he kind of, I don't want to say he screwed himself, but he really, it was not a good thing for him to do to protect his own rights, to waive his rights to appeal, because that's a tough hoe, ineffective assistance of counsel. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying it's a tough road to hoe.
I was thinking that it would be more than that. Like it's so not being ineffective assistance of counsel. It's more like something with the process, like my due process wasn't given to me, or I don't know all the legal terms. That's why I was asking you. Like, is there anything else that could be applied? No.
Well, I agree with Andrew 100%. It's a hard thing, and different attorneys have different strategies as to how they present evidence, how they attack evidence, what they want to produce, things like that. So, she did make a record. Ann Taylor did, when she said that she wasn't ready. and she did talk about how she wasn't ready. But it sort of got tiring to hear her say, I don't have enough help. And it was strange that she said that she had to review everything. And I'm
Yep.
thinking to myself, is this her client telling her, I want you to review everything?
Well, that's a question I think I had for both of you. I wanted to, since you said that real quick, not to interrupt you, Yoli, but because it's a death penalty case, does everything have to go in front of her eyes, or can somebody else within her team look at it?
No, her team can help. That's
Sure.
And Miss Potts brought this up when she was on. Was she on your show last week, Deo?
Yeah, she was here for a little bit.
And remember when she brought this up that Anne didn't use, what was it? Somebody's got to help me out on this.
Oh, the resource judge.
Yeah, the resource judge.
The what?
Absolutely. There's a resource judge. If you can explain that, either one of you, because I don't think a lot of people know who that is.
I know what you're talking about. I heard what you guys are talking about. Yeah.
The resource judge, the one that lots funds for, to help.
Yeah, and there was no motions or anything stating that she went in front of him or brought anything to his attention or anything. So why? I think that's what everybody's question is why, we wonder.
Well, I think she had a hard job with her client too, because like as I was saying, in the motion that she brought to try to get the jury instructed that he has autism, she wrote that he's having difficulty participating in his defense. She did write that in there, and that to me sounds like competency, like what's going on here. And I'm not, I'm don't have any experience in the criminal courtrooms or anything like that, but I do know criminal law. But when it comes to the mentally ill, and whether Brian or not is considered, he has some psychiatric disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, I would think that the judge would ask him, and this is just my opinion, do you understand that you have obsessive compulsive disorder, that is in the record? Yes.
Thank you.
Are you getting any treatment for that? Are you on any medication for that? Are you getting any therapy for that? Is that affecting your ability to enter this plea voluntary and knowingly? Because he does have that disorder, and I don't know.
Didn't they bury Yoli or Andrew or both? Didn't they bury his psychological evaluation, like in every aspect? Like it was completely, everything was sealed. Nobody could see anything. Or am I wrong on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of the form. There was a checkoff form, a formality that kind of alluded to it. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't think we've ever seen the actual evaluation, have we, Yoli?
No, I think it's what's in the motion. She put Ann Taylor put some information about what the psychologist said in the motion.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. I mean, the whole thing is wild. Kim, you missed a lot of this. Is there anything you wanted to add into that, or did I interrupt too much, Yoli?
No, I just
missed any points. I'm sorry.
What I just wanted to say is those are just my opinions, because I don't know how that works when you have somebody who has a mental disorder that's diagnosed in the record, and it's not opposed by the other side. I mean, the other side never said, he doesn't have that.
Yeah. Don't you think they could use that as like a disability? There's so many disability laws and protection in this country.
I mean, we've seen how many cases halted because of similar mental stuff, huh? I mean, Mickey Stein's right now. It hasn't gone to trial. It's been pushed off because of possible evaluations, correct?
Yeah. So, and this is after the fact, but when you've seen that video of him in the jail, and he's like, he's walking and he's cleaning, and he's
recent pictures of the hands, and
then he had like little things lined up on the bed, and then in the book he was writing to his dog, and he says, you don't know it, but we had a conversation. Or something like that. Like
he's just incel, Yoli. Jeez, he's just incel. Huh? He's just an incel.
Yeah, that's what they're calling him.
In the book, he writes, "Unbeknownst to you, we had a conversation," or something like that.
Yeah,
and I would question things like that, but I don't know how it definitively works. So
I would question whether that would be grounds for an appeal. Where again, my understanding is the only grounds for an appeal would be at this time evidence that could not, in the use of due diligence, have been known at that time. And they did know about his OCD. They did know that he had issues. They did know about the evaluation. In my mind and my understanding of this case, that he's waived all of his appeals, is the only appeal that's really viable would be, forget this ineffective assistance of counsel. I think the only appeal would be now is if there's some information that's truly and extremely exculpatory that shows that he wasn't there, he didn't do it, or somebody else did it, that could not have been discovered in the use of due diligence before the plea. So I disagree that any of that would really amount to an appellate issue.
Well, and I've wondered too, because I've had a lot of people come to me, guilters mostly, in emails saying, "You're stupid. He can't appeal for this, that, or anything else." I get the hate too, Andrew. I get it.
We all get it.
Yes, we
It's
do.
not what I was going to say. It's not necessarily an appeal. It's post-conviction relief.
Yes,
Sometimes they
yes.
interchange
Okay.
appeal with post-conviction
Well,
relief. That's what
And
it
that's
is.
the thing that kills me. You're right, Yoli. Some of these people don't even understand what they're saying when they're telling me I'm dumb about it. But you're dumb, Dago. You can't say this and that and everything else. He said at his sentencing hearing that he was very well represented by his attorney. He understood this. He understood that. Okay, that's great. Maybe he did at that time from what he believed it was. After the fact, I don't know if he could. So I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
We get
I
the
hope these
hate.
aren't
Don't worry.
stupid questions, but if it's post-conviction relief, does either one, appeal or post-conviction relief, whatever, does it automatically send him back to trial? Or I mean, not back to trial, give him a trial? Does it entitle him to new attorneys if he wants? Like, how does that work?
The only thing that I know is that there has to be a manifest injustice. Okay. Manifest injustice is the standard, and that's way beyond my expertise. So whatever manifest injustice happened, the remedy is made. For example, you get people who are freed because DNA frees them. Do they get another trial? I don't know if they do. So I'm not really sure to answer your question. Do you have any insight on that, Andrew?
Well, like I said before, I don't think that he has. I saw another channel do a really great analysis of the post-conviction relief, and their bottom line was, without going through the whole thing, nuh-uh. Again, I think that if there's some bombshell, which I think there might still be some kind of a bombshell, I don't know where or when, there's something in there, there's something in those records that they've been keeping secret. But again, I think that the only grounds for a real, whether you want to categorize it as post-judgment relief or as an appeal, is if they discover something that's huge, that is exculpatory, that could not have been discovered with due diligence before the plea. I mean, I think that's the bottom line.
What would you think would be such thing that would be so great?
Well, we all have theories, and they're all theories. They're all speculation. I don't know because I wasn't there, but my initial theory was that, a party house is a rug house. They have rugs in there, and someone got rid of the rugs. That was one of the early theories. Again, I'm only speculating, but you asked me what type of evidence would lead to this. If someone actually came and said, yeah, that's what it was. The rug people were very furious that the girls got rid of the stuff. They didn't want the rugs anymore, and the rug people wanted their money, and they went in and did what they did. They were furious. Look at the extent of the injuries on Kaylee. That's not Brian Koberger just going, oh, I think I'll go kill somebody. No, that's extreme. And so if somebody comes out and actually comes up with true evidence that it was the rug cartels that were working, and the FBI knew it at that time, that's the type. Again, I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
What type of evidence?
No, that's great.
There's other people out there that have other theories that are just as potentially feasible as my crazy theory. But that is my crazy theory.
Dr. Turvey did post on his Facebook within the past couple weeks that there is something explosive and that will make people furious when it comes out. So I'm very curious what that is.
He did, and he had other people.
Ago?
It's
About
been
2
within
weeks ago.
Yeah, and he had other people. There's other comments he made, along with that, stating There's so many people that are going to be changing their minds when they realize these things, when they see what this is for what it is, so on and so forth. I'm telling you guys, it's going to explode. I
Well,
feel it coming.
It's been
I
rolling
won't change.
pretty
Really?
I
fast.
won't change my mind because my mind is open. I've been on the same day for the same
Yes.
statements in the same episode. I've been called both a pro-burger and a guilter. People have given me the same as a former journalist, I try and remain as objective as I possibly can. I
Yes.
make observations that can be read either way, but I've tried. So I'm not going to change my mind. I'm going to be open to anything that says, and I hope that you are right, that there's
You
something
know what's
big
probably
coming
going to
up.
happen, Andrew, is you're going to sit there and you go, they shamed me for this, and I should have been more open-minded.
Yeah, right.
well,
Yeah,
you know,
Atlanta.
I
Sorry,
know.
go
I,
ahead, Yoli.
I see Lana's question, and it's a hard one because we don't know the conversations that she had with her client because they're attorney-client privilege, right? So if he was adamant that he did not want to go to trial, he wanted to just plead guilty and get the death penalty off the table, and if for whatever reason, because he did it or because he was threatened or for whatever reason, her job is to help him and help him decide and counsel him on
Understand.
what the best thing is. But ultimately,
Yeah.
it is up to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, she can't
is.
just take the case to trial if he's saying, no, I don't want to go to trial. So, I mean, while, it does look like it's ineffective assistance because she had the information about the chain of custody. But in terms of filing a motion, I don't know that would have been the greatest thing because it was, like I said, it's a question of fact for the jury. She can attack it. But
right.
but it's really hard to I think I'm with Andrew about the ineffective assistance of counsel. It's going to be very hard to get that. And it's more likely that it'll be something that he could not have done it. In other words,
Yeah.
even if he says he did it, he could not have. Something comes out that says, no, you didn't do this. And even if he says he did it, it's like, no, you didn't.
Well,
That
and,
kind of
and
thing.
yeah, and we have two folks, not one, not three, at least two. There may be more. Okay,
Yeah.
we have another expert that was scared into shutting her mouth and walking away. She was threatened by.
Right.
We've talked about this before, Andrew and Yoli both.
Yes,
we know about that. Okay, that was a show that I did with you guys. So that one was scared into going into hiding. Lana has tried to speak with her since then, and there's been no conversation since. We have another expert that came forward and made a statement in his affidavit and said, in the 30 years that I've been doing what I've been doing, I haven't seen so much misinformation purposely put out there, which makes me believe there's something much, much larger going on. And now we have another expert coming out saying in his 30 years of experience, it's all based on 30 years, guys, but he's never seen this, and that. So we have three people that were willing and are willing, I'm still saying, Cy Ray, Dr. Turvey, Gabriela Vargas, all these people were pointing at things and saying, we got a problem here. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're being shut down. They're being attacked at different points. They're being ignored. There's obviously a huge problem somewhere, folks. Okay. What is it? The secrecy, every bit of this. It's crazy. Go ahead, Logan. You look like you're ready to speak. Go for it.
Just do
I
it.
was just
Oh, okay.
listening to you and agreeing. But yeah, like I said, Dr. Turvey said something explosive is going to come out, and I truly believe there is. And I think that is what is going to lead to eventually some post-conviction relief for Brian.
Yeah. Like I've been saying, and Lana said the same thing last night. She said it's coming, and I was making a funny out of it, if you find it funny or not. But I said, if you're standing anywhere near the fan, you might want to move because it's about to hit, and it's going to hit hard.
That's
It's
funny.
definitely coming.
So
Yeah,
I was
um,
going to ask everybody if you thought that this was a coordinated effort by these authors and everything that's going on
I do.
to make something happen, or is it
Yep.
because something's going to happen, or do you think it wasn't coordinated or it's not coordinated?
I think Whitcomb was the original
Catalyst,
dropper.
the
Yep.
catalyst. Yeah.
And you can see
Are
how
they-
it's spinning off.
Are they
Well, I
trying to
said-
force something to happen?
I mean,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I see Whitcomb as the doorway to the future with this, in my opinion. It was what I was going to say. Go ahead, Yoli. I'm so sorry.
Well, what I was going to say is whatever happens, it has to be Brian's decision. In other words, he
Right.
has to
Yep.
initiate it. I mean, if he doesn't initiate anything
Yep.
after all this is out, people, I mean, we can't file post-conviction relief for
Of
him
course.
without him.
Of
I
course.
mean, what if,
Huh.
and I worry about that guy. Not worry, but I mean about
I
his
agree.
state of mind and how he was, because I used to do that. Like watch people that were mentally ill. I didn't make diagnosis, but I would chart their behaviors as a mental health worker. And if I were to be charting on this guy, if I was, for example, charting on Brian Koberger, I would say, describe everything. He looks like he's looking up. He looks like he's looking at something or somebody's talking to him. He's got all his little things lined up there on his bed. He's cleaning and walking as if he's responding to something internal, like,
Right.
and also too, if you look up schizophrenia, and I'm not saying Brian Koberger has it, I'm just
No, of course.
using it as an example, that it usually develops when they leave home and they're
Mhm.
on their own for the first time, and they've been away, for the first time away from their parents, and they seem to break down, and they have a psychotic break, and it turns into schizophrenia. But it can also happen that their disorders, whatever they have, like OCD, they get worse.
Yeah.
And so, there is such a thing as getting psychosis from your OCD.
Sure.
It's an anxiety disorder. If you have enough anxiety, it could cause a mental break. And people will disagree with me, but I know that. I know that it can. I mean, I wouldn't diagnose Brian. I'm only going by what's in his record in the
Yeah.
court.
And you know
And
what they focus
let
on
him.
too? I don't mean to cut you off, but like,
Mhm.
so they focus on like, oh, all this communication with just his family, his mother and his father. Well, what was the communication before he left?
Right. They don't point to anything
Sorry.
before any of that. Right. They don't show you the relationship that he had with his mother his entire life. They don't talk about any of that, Mike. They don't talk about the fact that he is, quote unquote, what they're
Yeah.
calling a mama's boy, which I don't find anything wrong with that. Okay.
No.
It doesn't make you a bad person just because of that. So they don't
That's-
point to anything about Brian until he moves to Idaho. And I'm sorry to tell you, but that's
Yeah.
important. It's very important.
But
And they
this
won't
road
look at
that
it.
Yoli's going down, that's interesting. I like that. That's yeah. There's more
He's
to
very
that.
good at articulating things.
Uh-huh.
Always has been.
And I've always thought the driving around at night, he has OCD, he has anxiety, and he's driving around at night in the, highways, and it reduces anxiety, and that's why you see people driving their babies around in the car when they're
Mhm.
crying, they're driving them around
Yeah.
to get them to go to sleep. So it kind of jives with that, that he has anxiety. And I mean, I said this a long
Agreed.
time ago. I said this when I called into CJ show before anything was known.
Years
Because
ago.
Yeah. And I was just blown away. And then the whole IGG information and then Vargas getting a visit from the FBI. I'm like, what? At the instruction of the prosecutor?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just been piling up more and more and more and more, and just continues to get worse. And still, I agree fully with you on most everything you said, completely, Yoli.
Piled
Um,
up, swept away.
anything to add, Kim? You okay?
Yeah, I personally, I deal with things like this with my own child, and
Right.
we were talking about the anxiety causing that. Like, he went through horrible, like, lifelong, like, medical issues and stuff, and it just gave me a different perspective, and it can happen. Like, I've seen, you're speaking truth.
Absolutely.
It can
Fully agree with it, and we appreciate you putting that out there too, Yoli, because a lot of people don't understand that side to this. You know what I mean? They're not seeing the other point, the other things behind it. Like, I worry. Okay, back to the initial topic we were talking about with this is with in the very end of this, after everything's said and done, Brian has to be the one to make that decision. if Brian is not understanding this, if he's not, and I'm not saying he's not, I'm not saying he's not, I'm saying if he doesn't understand what he has to do, and if he's got it, his mindset is in a different place with this, it's not going to make a difference. And that's sad to me. That's very sad to me because I said, and Andrew, you've even watched, you said, so on and so forth. I can't put Brian in anything with this. Nothing. I don't see him involved anywhere. Okay. And that's been my process for the past year at least. And that to me is very sad. If this man is sitting in prison for the rest of his life, doesn't, and the only, he's got a very close relationship with his family. They're an amazing family from what I've seen. He's losing his life for no reason. And the people that really did this are outliving their lives. That bothers the hell out of me. I'll be honest with you. And that's where I feel as though somebody needs to step in somewhere and say, look, this is what you should be doing. This is what you need to understand. This is how this needs to happen. But it's not going to happen until somebody can do it, is all I'm saying. So I just wonder.
That doesn't take away from his intelligence. Like, a lot of people think it's either or. A lot of people think like you have that, like, well, he's a smart guy. Yeah. Usually people with those kinds of issues are super high intelligence. We're not saying that's the case. I don't think any of us are saying that's the case at all. We're pointing out things that he has been diagnosed with and things like that. If that were the case, because everybody's saying he has to be the one to do something. If that was the case, is there, like with children, they can get like a guardian ad litem or something like that, right? What is there for adults in that situation?
That's a good question. I don't know that there is. Go ahead. If either one of you know that, I don't.
When you get a conservator or a guardian,
would that be up to the state to do that?
Even in prison, as a prisoner?
I have no idea how it works in prison.
I've done guardianships for elderly people, senior people that need to have decisions made for them if people don't go ahead and do their estate planning properly, and they don't have healthcare proxies and all the rest. I used to do guardianship. I mean, I don't want to make this into a dent moment.
No.
That is something that could have been done. I've done guardianships for people that are unable to make decisions for themselves, and they're adults. Often they're done for children, but I mean, again, I don't want to make it into a dent moment, but that is, if someone really seriously felt that because Brian Kober, for whatever reason, was unable to make decisions for himself and was incompetent at the time that he made the plea, that's something that would be there. But I think, from my experience doing guardianships, they're very difficult, and at least in my jurisdictions, they've made them really difficult. You've got to have really clear and convincing is the standard medical evidence. So that's out there, but I don't see it happening in this case.
No, and sorry, Logan, real quick. Wouldn't that have to come from? It should come from his defense team, Andrew, or they could point to that and say, "Hey, I don't think my client."
Usually a family member. Usually a family member is the one that would come to me previously when I used to do that type of work. I did a fair amount of it earlier in my practice, not so much anymore, because it's very difficult. The standard is very high.
No, sorry, anxiety. Logan. So I wanted to address a comment. Anxiety doesn't cause schizophrenia. What I'm saying is that anxiety can cause psychosis. That's different than schizophrenia. I was just using schizophrenia as
I understood you.
Understood. But I was just using schizophrenia as an example. But people who have high anxiety, that it's so bad, and you see his hands are all red, and there's no doubt. But when they have that, it can sometimes lead to psychosis, and it could be temporary, or it could really mess up their mind. I mean, I don't know.
And when you're in his situation, wouldn't that make it worse, Jolie? If you're in prison, your life is over, and in essence,
tightening, it's creating other things.
And it still doesn't mean that he could not have done it because he has OCD and he's on the, it doesn't mean that he could not have done it. He could have done it, but who would have been the one to tidy up? I mean, he does have OCD, so
Hey, and he had to clean his car too.
But how would he have done it in that timeline of 12 minutes? How would he have done it in that timeline? Nobody could have done it then.
They ran time trials, Andrew. What the heck?
I
Yeah,
often
the-
wonder. I often
Sorry.
wonder, actually, and it's a thought that I often have, but I don't speak on very often, is I wonder if Brian Koberger actually has an easier time in prison because it's structured and he does suffer with mental health and OCD and
Good.
anxiety and all sorts of things like that, that maybe prison is actually just easier for him than the real world.
I mean,
That's-
in
Yeah,
some
That's
aspects,
true
yeah.
too.
That side of mental health
Especially
is a
when things
different
are
thing.
regimented like that, and it's
Yeah,
And you
one of
don't
the
have to
biggest-
deal with all those other pressures that you have in the outside world, doing work and this and keeping up with everything.
Yes.
One of the-
and the
one of the-
decisions he has to make, he has to make less decisions there.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to deal with uncertainty. He knows the routine. He knows what time he gets up. It's a relief on his brain to have to decide things. And, he's pretty meticulous in that paper that he wrote, the paper about,
Yes.
how he would investigate a crime. So, but what's weird is that he wrote about all this stuff. It's almost like I don't know, like a self-fulfilling prophecy that
Yeah,
this, I don't
yeah,
know.
and I fully agree with you, Logan. As most of everybody that knows me knows, I have a 19-year-old autistic son, who still lives at home, and he's very high functioning, and you'd never know it. He's a musical genius, all of those things, but he does not function outside of his structured world. Okay, anytime he steps outside of that box, all hell breaks loose. If there's no medication, if he's not, he still looks to mom and I for, what do I do with this? He works a full-time job. He makes amazing money. He goes to work every day. He does everything he's supposed to do. But if there's a misstep, one misstep, his whole world's upside down, and we have to come into effect and straighten things back out for him. So there, in turn, there's many different variations, folks. Understand that it's not just the same. Just because of that label, it doesn't mean anything. It's always different, and I have the ability to understand that, which is why this is kind of passionate for me, because I see this as this is, I have the same type of a child, and I've always said this, that I feel like in some aspects Brian Koberger has been bullied, he's been cornered, he's been attacked for things that he has no control over in some aspect. Okay, and I think I feel like part of the reason why he was, as Ann would have said, chosen for this.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's just a point I wanted to make real quick. I don't want to tear, like Andrew said, I don't want to turn the corner and make this a different show. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and how was he cornered into? I don't know. That's another whole question.
That's the whole other topic of how he ended up involved in this is another thing too.
Well, what
Someone
was the
in
whole
chat asked a good question about, is he receiving all this information? Would he be getting this information, do you think?
I hope.
But the thing is has he even spoken to his parents since he's been? He's probably just now starting to be able to talk to them, right?
I mean,
No,
he's
he's
written
been talking
letters.
to his family.
Yeah.
He's been
Yeah, he
talking
talks
to his
to his
mom on the
parents.
phone.
Is he still talking to his defense team? Are they still giving him information about what's going on with this, that, and everything else? Are they still defending him? All of these things are questions that I have. Or is it just been shut down? And that's how people are.
Because it's if she is communicating with him, it's attorney-client privilege. So whatever, there are some inmates that have pled guilty and they don't want any more information.
Sure.
Because they pled guilty, they did it, and it's not relevant. But for us out here, for me, and like I'm still interested in this case, and because I have mental health interests, I look at that aspect of it. But certainly it doesn't mean he could not have done it. I mean, it could mean he did do it. I mean, I don't know. It could, but like I said, like Andrew has said, it seems unlikely that it was one person. I mean, I could see one person doing the unalivings, but the help to clean,
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. And the way it was cleaned, that's the other problem too, Yoli. The way it was cleaned is something, I think Lana hit on this the best when I was talking to her at one point, but the way it was cleaned is something that you kind of got to be a specific type of person to be able to clean that way. You're not going to leave behind specific things. And I hate to say it the way I'm going to say it, and it's not to sound this way, but what other way can you say it? You got to know what you're looking for. This can't be here. This can't be there. This has to be removed. That has to be removed. Somebody with background knowledge would have to understand that to be able to do what they did. It can't just be any kid off the street that's going to college to clean this mess up, in my opinion. So, Anyway, that's kind of a thought that I've had on this. I'm sorry if I pushed somebody back. I didn't mean to.
No, it's just interesting. This whole case has been very, very interesting. And the secrecy.
That's the biggest part of it. Why?
Yeah.
Why so much secrecy with this?
Yeah. That's a lot.
Why-
That's a lot.
Not only why was there so much secrecy, I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but not only why was there so much secrecy, but why does it still persist a year after the case is over? Why are they going at a snail's pace, going through every single line of every single page of every single document, and they've actually released stuff that then they've unreleased? They're just going so slowly. Why is that court keeping it so secret? And I'm a member of the bar in 2 states. I have to, by my oath, have deference and respect for the system. But there's something rotten in Idaho. There just is. It doesn't make any sense that they've protected all of this information for so long. I mean, why?
Right.
I did one time, I think you remember this. One time I actually sat down and I know lawyers are not known for our math skills, but I sat down and I looked at the pace at which they're going through these documents, and I projected that it won't be until December of 2027 that they're done going through. Why? Why don't you sit everybody down in a conference room, go through it all, whether it takes 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever, just do it and get it out. Why? Why are they still protecting it a year later?
You know what it kind of seems like? A mismanaged business without an active owner. So
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What'd you say?
It seems like a mismanaged business without an active owner.
Oh, okay.
So what would be the active, what's the higher third party in this that's pushing all this? To me, that's my opinion. Is there somebody that's orchestrating, well, this is what has to go on to cover this up, and it's just following,
Who's directing from the top? Yeah, I got you, and 100%, because Hippler, he's first off, I understand why he started where he started, but guys, we're still 3 years out, okay? And he hasn't even gotten through the first year of the stuff that he's dropping, and it's just, I've never seen anybody drag their feet so badly in my life. I fully agree with you, Andrew. Like, at this point, just dump it. Give it here. Let us look at it, be done with it, and move forward. Or why? Why are you doing this?
I do think it's strange that they released Dylan's her phone records and paused her GoFundMe, and then the only thing that was released was her phone records or her phone data stuff. I find that very strange.
There's a lot more out there. Guys in the chat, real quick, because we're getting close to the time where I'm going to have to let these awesome people go. If you guys have specific questions for them, put a Q in front of it, please. I'll grab as many as I can without hammering them, but please put a Q in front of what questions you have for Andrew and or Yoli, if you will, please, and thank you. And I will try to throw some out there.
Kind of like in Spanish, you put an upside down question mark before the question. Anybody that knows Spanish.
There you go. There you go.
Did I apologize for not having my train of thought
fine,
correct because of all the mess that I was going through? Did
You're
I ask you about plea deals? Did I ask you about your experience when you were in law school? When you were in law school, or if you're going through ongoing training, what did you learn? What were they teaching about plea deals and best practices? Like, is that a best practice? And
well, I did do a lot of criminal early in my career. I've been doing this for 30 plus years, and now I do largely, if not entirely, civil. But when I first started out, I worked for a firm in Boston. Then I went out on my own, and I did a fair amount of criminal work. There's the practical side and the ethical side. The practical side is, the DAs will walk into the courtroom with a bunch of files, 20, 25 files under their arm. And so it's in their interest. We must, where I practice, we must conference the criminal cases with the DA. We must conference the cases with the prosecutor. In fact, we have to sign off and file a pre-trial memo. What that means is that I have to verify to the court and sign a document saying that I have conferenced the case with the district attorney or whoever the prosecutor is. So that's the practical side of it, is we have to do it. But the ethical side of it is, it's not my case. I'm the attorney. It is the client's case. So I have to go to the client and talk to the client and say, this is the best we can do. It's either try the case or take the plea. They'll often say, well, go back and negotiate some more. So we do that. I've generally found 2 or 3 times you go back to the prosecutor, you work out the best you can, but it really is up to the client. It's up to the client. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times the clients say, well, you're the attorney, give me advice. And that's all we can do. We can just, weigh the pluses and minuses of both and say, if you plea, you're going to get 2 years and a fine of this, or if you don't plea, here's the evidence. We're going to look at the evidence, go over it, and evaluate what we think could happen based on our prior knowledge. So all we can do is advise the client, but it is the client's decision in the end. It's their case. It's their, I hate to be crude about it, but it's their ass that's in the slinger.
And
so,
you're a defense attorney, correct?
I was. I don't do a lot of criminal. And earlier in my career, I did a fair amount of criminal defense. At this point, I do largely civil.
I'm thinking about like the prosecutor side of it, because we know that they go in and they overcharge and they, they do all those tactics, to kind of force the plea. Yeah.
Often. That's true. Often you'll have 3 charges and you can get rid of 1, or if you're lucky 2. That you're right. On a practical level, you're right.
He said that nice and calmly. Oh,
yes.
The prosecutor has different objectives. A lot of times they're political objectives. They shouldn't be, but they are. And in this particular case, when I just watched Jack Showalter's second interview, I think.
Yeah.
Or I can't remember if it's the first, second, but I watched one, and they asked him, the Idaho State Police asked him, what do you think is going to happen to the university if they don't catch this guy? And I thought, why is he asking him that?
Yeah.
Right.
That was a weird question. And so they did, the prosecutor did have that in the back of their mind, no doubt. That was something that they had in the back of their mind or forefront. I mean, they're thinking, what is going to, and if you saw Washington State University, all of the documents that came out, the students were scared. They didn't know if they wanted to come back. They weren't getting information. They were, so some of these people were considering not coming back to school, and parents were saying no. And so, that was in the back of their mind, the prosecution anyway. But I agree with Andrew as to the client is the one who makes this decision.
To me, that kind of brings up something kind of interesting that I took out of the gal that interviewed with Lana with the DMV interview there.
Oh, Peggy Gunn. Yeah.
Yeah. So at one point she sits there and she goes, whether they emailed her or whatever, that, that the gag order was lifted. And she kind of touched on that a little bit. That I guess the way that she put that, to me, it hit that these other people that were interviewed, et cetera, involved in this, when they were put under gag, how much when they were put under that, did they also put verbiage behind that in fear verbiage of don't talk? Or, you know where I'm going with this, because the way Peggy said it, it was just interesting that it said to me, wow, how did they serve this to the other ones that were closer to the situation? And is that why nobody talks about this in that town?
Yeah, that's
a good point.
It's interesting. I don't know how, I don't know, but
that's random.
Certainly that DMV
an
clerk
interesting point.
The gag order.
Yeah, right. So the first question I'm gonna throw out here is from Miss Tara. She says, if found not guilty, can Brian these are going to be their opinions, folks. They can't give exact answers, obviously, but if found not guilty, can Brian sue everyone or anyone who made money off of his name? Do you guys have any thoughts or feelings on that?
Well, I mean, can he? Yes. The attorney standard answer, which you've probably all heard, is that anybody can sue anyone for anything in the United States. So the real question is not, can he sue? What's the viability of the suit? And
JLR, baby.
Yeah, right.
And
right.
Oh, yeah.
If he's found not guilty, is presuming something that hasn't happened yet. I mean, we don't. For now, he's pled guilty. He has no appeals. He's not, we just have to see what happens. I mean, if there's something that comes out, like Trivia is saying something awful is going to come out or something explosive, then maybe Brian Koberger will speak will want to do something, but I don't know, have no idea whether he wants to do something or not because
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it and a very good point. Miss Anna D is asking, couldn't Brian file for habeas corpus? Either one of you or both of you? Any thoughts
Same
on
answer.
that?
Same answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good point. Well, and some of these questions are hard to ask because they're just opinionated. Absolutely. So bear with me, guys. Somebody else had asked, I think it was Moon. I'm looking for the question here. I'm sorry. I got them starred, but it's still hard because there's so many of them. 1 minute.
Take your time, Dago. You do a great job. I watch you all the time when I'm working in my office. I watch you because you go through, document by document, photo by photo, and I'm trying to get some work done. And
You guys have been hammering it out, Andrew, over there. Holy smokes. You and Yoli on them pre-records?
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Okay, Wade Bird is asking, Miss Christine says, do you think the WSU is going to use some of the stuff that Chris has written in their book? What do you think is coming down the pipeline with the lawsuit and then the EWU lawsuit against Moscow? Either one of you or both. Thank you, Wade Bird.
I don't know how WSU can use the information from Chris's book because that's not evidence. It's a book. So, they may need to get the underlying information, but the book's not evidence.
Agree.
Sure.
I really thought the Supreme Court ruling would have the biggest impact on his case. I forget what it's called, but they're going to rule on it, I think, beginning of June or end of June, beginning of July. I don't know. It's coming. And they're going to change. They're going to supposedly, if it's favorable, they will allow for a bigger umbrella, so many more options of appeals instead of what's currently available.
Very good. Go ahead, Yoli.
I don't know. I don't know enough to know that whether or not it applies to Brian Koberger because he had a chance to appeal and he didn't. And I'm not, when that decision comes out, I'll read it and see.
Yeah.
We'll both read it.
Seems great.
Yeah.
Together.
We'll read it together.
You know you're going to do it.
I'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
Episode on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody asked, Dago's not with us.
me.
Bronx
I'm here, I'm
Tales
sorry.
True
I was trying to
Crime
fix
says, I'm sorry. I was doing your job by reading the question. I'm sorry.
You're good. Go ahead.
What do you think we should FOIA next? I want to know more about Bethany Funk. Any documents, any exculpatory evidence? I don't
The
know.
transcript,
What?
the transcript between her and Batani.
There you go.
Yes.
Wonder how
this
they have
Bronx?
that buried.
Who's this Bronx Tales chick asking all these
I don't
questions
know.
all the
I
time?
don't know. Dude, go away.
I
kidding.
even have that document. I could
Very
send it.
interesting. Good
Yeah.
point.
Can you email that to me, Yoli?
I would
Oh,
love it too.
yeah.
Sweet.
Could you email it to me?
Jeepers, Andrew.
I'd love to see it
What
myself.
else is she
Me too.
hiding?
I did a video on it. I did a very short video on it.
I'm
but I'll
sorry.
email it to you guys.
I told you guys you need to subscribe to Yoli and Andrew's channels and go check it out.
So,
Yes.
sorry for the last random email last night, Andrew.
That's all right.
You did, Lana. She said she emailed you.
She
wants
did.
to
She
link-
invited me, but the difference is that I would love to talk to her. The problem was she invited me less than an hour before
Yeah.
the gig,
Yep.
Yeah.
and I was deep head into another project that I'm
yeah,
working
you're
on right
good.
now. Dago here, he had his people talk to my people about 10 days, 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
That's
She
Mikey.
didn't know how to get a hold of you,
Yeah.
so
No,
I
no,
sent
I
her your
got it.
email. So it
I
was-
got an invite, but it was just too late. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, it's all
You
good.
got
I
him.
would
We'll
never
get
know
him.
this word either.
We'll get him locked down for the next time for sure. That's all. No biggie. Sausage is asking, would the public be able to FOIA the visitor logs for Brian leading up to him taking the plea to see who was visiting him? Interesting, Sausage.
I did FOIA that. I
did
FOIA'd
you?
his phone calls and his
Really?
visitor log, and they told me no due to privacy.
Really?
Yes.
Good call.
Interesting.
Very good call, Logan. She is on it, guys. You You should be a PI. I told you that.
I talked to Moscow the other day. What was it? Yesterday, and they were pretty annoyed with me because I FOIA so much.
Oh, they're annoyed with all of us. I think that's why we stopped. They started ignoring me completely. I don't get answers. I don't even get answers to my FOIAs anymore. Not even denials. They just ignore me.
I'm a poker. I'm gonna keep poking.
Have you ever made a comment to them, Logan? Like, well, if they would just release them, then I wouldn't have to do this.
I would like to say that, but then I'd really get ignored.
You want them to answer the phone.
I just got it.
If either one of you are uncomfortable with any of these questions, just say, I'm not really comfortable answering that, and we don't have to worry about it. But Melissa Greer is saying, do either of you have any feelings on Olivia's claims on TikTok?
I don't have TikTok, so I haven't seen. I don't know.
Yeah, that just came up yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what
I
that's
haven't even
about.
seen it.
I hadn't read it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. I haven't even seen it myself. Something new that I missed. I'll
Yeah,
have to go
she
check
was
that out.
basically responding on this this whole recent that just came out.
I have a
Oh,
TikTok channel, but I don't know anything about it. I have somebody that does that for me. I don't.
Right.
I don't know anything about TikTok. All I know is I have a channel with about 3,000 or 4,000 followers. But I don't know anything. I
There's
don't.
probably
somebody
videos
does it
of
for
me
me.
over there.
What's
And
that?
there's probably videos of me over there on TikTok, and I don't even have it.
Right. I don't
They
like
clipped you out, Yoli.
Yes. I don't like it because it's so, the way they are, it's so weird over there. I have somebody that does TikTok for us, and I just let her do it, and I smile
here,
and look at it. That's it.
Lizzie put something in chat about what Olivia was talking about. I think in a summary.
I think Olivia is silly of. Olivia is silly of saying Turvey is talking about.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
well, in terms of what Ann Taylor said about outside his area of expertise, I just think that what she meant was that he was talking about the admissibility of the knife sheath, that it would have been excluded at trial. And that's for an attorney. That's an opinion an attorney would give. He wasn't hired to give his opinions on admissibility of evidence or not.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like I said, it would be probably admissible then because it's a question of fact.
They're just
Yeah.
talking circles.
Yeah, and that I get it. I do. I think that Turby, what he's doing, a lot of people are saying he shouldn't have said what he said because it was like you said, it was outside of the expertise why he was there. But if he really feels strongly, this is my opinion, if he feels really strongly something is not right there, I think that's why he's pushing in the direction of things that he's not really an expert in to try to get somebody to pay attention. Is my opinion again, like I said. But Moonflower is saying, can I ask you about an amicus brief? I have no idea what that is, so I'm going to leave that in your hands. I have no idea what that means.
An amicus brief is a friend of the court brief, and there has to be a case that's open. For example, if there's a big case in front of the United States Supreme Court, all kinds of different, the ACLU will file an amicus brief because they're a friend of the court. It might be A versus B, and they're not a party, but they'll file a friend of the court or amicus brief. But there has to be a pending case, and
Okay.
at this time there's no pending case. So
Got you.
My
Okay. Hopefully that answered that for you, Moonflower. Like I said, I have no clue with that. I've never heard that one. Christine asks, the interviews, the dash cam, the body cam of the transport of Brian, the interview of Brian, the SWAT arrest. Why aren't we able to see this? Do you have opinions on as to why, maybe?
I have no idea. You see channels that have interviews with suspects all the time.
Yeah,
Body
they
cam.
buried under
I really
FBI.
don't know, and I don't know.
It is very questionable.
We've gone back and forth on my channel, Yoli and I, about we've never seen video of what happened in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania in the closing days of 2022. We've never seen what they did, and it's probably because they're embarrassed that they had to do what they did at the Koberger's parents' house. I mean,
Overkill.
We've never seen that. And as Yoli pointed out, I don't take credit for this. What Yoli pointed out one time was, the Long Island serial killer, they nabbed him in the middle of Manhattan on a nice sunny day just by walking up to him and nabbing him. They didn't have to break down any houses. So
No.
I think the Pennsylvania law enforcement people are just embarrassed that they did that.
Well, I think they were putting a show on, Andrew. They had to make this, and I think it all plays into the propaganda that, once again, they had to make this guy look like he was so horrible. He was this monster. And I
Right.
think that played into that whole scenario, in my opinion.
But
So,
we haven't seen the video. We never saw the video.
no, agreed. Very much
And
agreed.
there was, I know that Brett Payne testified that he was looking at video on his phone from a drone of the
Oh, right.
Yep.
of
Right.
what happened.
Huh.
So I do know that he was looking at video from a drone because he testified to that. But you know what it was is instead of being a calm, peaceful environment, they were like agitated, like they wanted to agitate the
Yeah.
situation. I mean, what if Brian Koberger's father thought, "What the hell's going on?" and pulls out a gun?
Agreed. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, all they had to do was call and say, "Hey, can you come down to the station? We have some questions for you," before he even left to go home. And it would have been so much simpler, but it didn't put on the show that they had to provide, in my opinion. Go
when
ahead.
they saw him driving, I mean, they saw him jogging and they saw him at CVS.
Right. Right. Made no
They-
sense.
He was stopped twice on the way there. I still feel like that's involved. They say it's not, but I don't believe that. That's me.
I don't either. I agree with you 100%.
Somebody's
100%.
first cam caught this.
It's too convenient, Andrew, that he was pulled over twice in 10 minutes on his way home.
Yeah.
You know they were surveilling him the whole way home, in my opinion.
Exactly. I agree.
Taratha, if I'm saying it wrong, please excuse me. She says, could Ann Taylor have refused to accept Brian's plea of guilt? Could she have told the courts that she believes he's innocent and didn't want an innocent man going to prison? I don't believe so, but I'll leave that up to you two.
No.
No.
It's the client's decision. Like you guys asked me a question a while ago about what happens in a plea, and you give the client all the information you can, you advise them, and you want them to make an informed decision, and then the judge goes through a colloquy to make sure that it's an informed decision. So it's not up to Ian Taylor. You can say whatever you want about her, but it's up to the client, really. I don't know if Yoli agrees with me or not.
Oh yeah, it's up to the client.
All right.
That's what I thought too, but I
mean,
didn't know
if she
there
has reservations about the relationship and he's not following her direction and she thinks that he's innocent and he's going to plead guilty and she has a problem with that, she needs to withdraw as counsel. I mean, I don't know if that's even a good thing to do, but it's a client. It's her client's decision. It's his life.
Yes.
Yeah, what I thought too. Christopher Magraziba, I think I said that right too. My apologies. If post-judgment relief is granted at a state level, relinquishing Brian from the plea that he entered into, can a federal case be brought? And would this allow more access to investigate documentation? Your thoughts?
I'm not sure of the question. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it's a state matter. I don't know how it would be a federal matter. I don't know. I'm stumped. I'm stumped by that question. Your viewers have stumped me. My initial thought is no, but I might be wrong.
Got you.
No, I don't. A federal case for what?
I think he means can they bring a federal case against him?
Yeah.
After the fact, because I think it's based on something Steve may have said years ago, where he said, that he wanted to try to get his own prosecutor, which we all know wouldn't have happened, and that they were going to bring federal charges rather than state charges and all that. I think people are taking some of that stuff and thinking of it. I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I took it.
I think it's a stretch.
Gotcha. Okay, let me see here. Logan, did you have any other questions you wanted to ask before?
No, I can't think of anything else right now.
Miss Kim, any other questions you wanted to throw out there? I know you missed a lot of this, but
no, I got everything in, but I thought it might be interesting if we all ended with we talked about what are they covering up? Like, why are they hiding everything? What does everybody want to give their?
Do you have an opinion, Andrew, Yoli? I'll go start with you since you're the guest. Do you have any opinions as to what they could be hiding or covering up with all the secrecy? It's obviously something big.
I have no idea, but the way they're handling the information in this case is making me suspicious. That's all. I have no idea what could be, why this case was so sealed, and why everything's kept quiet. I don't know. That's
It's
why I'm
been
interested, because there
right.
aren't, you don't do secret prosecutions here in the United States. You
No.
don't do things in secret. You don't call secret hearings and not tell the public about court hearings. You don't call in the victims' parents and tell them what the role of a victim is supposed to be. You don't do things that have been done in this case. For example, at the Franks hearing, the presentation of evidence was done closed, but yet the oral argument was done open. So how are they supposed to adequately argue the case if they can't refer to the evidence that was just put on? It's a handicap. It's like, how do you do that?
Great
And then
point.
they release the transcript. They release the transcript of it, but that doesn't help for what the argument that needed, the record that needed to be made. Because how do you argue? You just have sealed evidence and you're going to argue, well, so and so said this and this and this. No, can't say that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Great
We
point.
get comments. Well, you don't really need to know. It's the integrity of the investigation, which it was back then. It was, but that's all water over the dam. We get comments telling us that we really don't need to know all of these things. These things have to be kept confidential. Well, remember, who paid to build the courthouse? Who pays the judge's salary? Who paid the prosecutor? Who pays for all the law enforcement at all three levels? And in this case, who paid for the defense? So we have an absolute, unquestionable right to know everything. And in answer to your question, what do I think? I told you before my theory, and it's only my theory. Yell at me, make comments on Dago's channel and my channel. It's only my theory, but it's rugs. It was a party house, and a party house is a euphemism for a rug house. Sorry.
No, agreed, sir. I have agreed from the beginning. Very good
Okay.
point. Thank you for that, both of you. I appreciate your input. Any questions, Mikey, that you want to ask?
No,
Well,
sir.
we got to go around and everybody's got to answer that.
Oh yeah, go
What
for
was
it.
that again? What was that question again?
What do you think, Mike?
What are they
That
hiding?
the what are they hiding?
Oh,
possibly?
I'm not first. You ain't put me on that.
All right, we'll go with Kim
Hiding.
first then. We'll go that direction.
I think that they're hiding the real evidence, and they're hiding it because of the drugs, like Andrew said, but because they were supposed to be protecting those kids. That's what I think.
That's very interesting. Ms. Logan.
I think they're hiding it because of who it will probably lead to and who that person is or what they are involved with. Maybe it's a law enforcement person or somebody related or somebody connected to the college or something. It's who it would point to.
Definitely something big, I think. And now, Mikey, you have any answer to that?
Well, I'm stuck. I'm stuck because I was one way before this book
Yeah, I
came
get
out.
it. A lot of
There's a lot of different things that have kind of changed, but right now, I guess where I'm stuck at, and I'm not gonna point at it, but it's I feel like it's family power. There's obviously a power over something here that
Ooh.
that has driven, but it's like Logan said, the person that could be tied to this, the exposure to that. I don't
Okay.
know. That's where I'm at.
So, like protecting a family.
Yeah, and it's like, what's the ties to that family? Like,
Yeah.
what?
like okay. I get
So,
what you're
like,
saying.
say if the family was tied to the church, and the church put out all these donations to the university would be exposed. What's going to happen to the university if my child is exposed that was involved in this? Where's the backlash going to come?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pure speculation.
We're all
Oh.
speculating.
It all is.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting,
every bit
though.
of it. In my opinion, I'm kind of Andrew and I have discussed this many times before that I believe the same thing. I think that there's a high end drug aspect to this, possibly people that are involved in that end. it's obvious, that within a lot of the interviews we've heard, there's a lot of people. Now we'll hear one half of it. Oh my God, no, there's no drugs there, never, so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
right.
Come on, you guys. We know better. It's a college campus, and I accepted it. They should be there, okay? But there's a different angle with it, in my opinion. It's a lot more pronounced, and a lot more dangerous per se. And that's what I think is what happened. I think there could be the possibility of, an informant of some sort involved in the situation as well, along with the drug aspect. Um, and maybe some other things off to the little details in the background, but that's mainly what my theory is on it. So, um, but
Interesting.
thank you. Well, at that point, at least for you two, I don't want to keep you here, like I said, all night. It's been 2 hours, 15 minutes, and we appreciate you all. And of course, sir, I will ask you both, or sir and ma'am, I'm sorry,
It's
that
okay.
hopefully you'll be able to join us again soon, because I always enjoy having you both here, and your input, your feelings, your thoughts, your theories. If my prediction is correct, somewhere in June or July, I feel like there's going to be a big kerplooey. And at that
A
point,
kerplooey.
yes, kerplooey, kerplunk. I don't know where that came from, but
I can hardly wait. I can hardly
yes,
wait.
yes. And
And the,
if and when I will definitely love to have you guys back. Go ahead, Yoli. I'm sorry.
and the interview with Brent Turvey is when? Monday at
Monday, 6 p.m.
Cus-
Eastern. I don't know the time zones for sure. So,
yeah, Custody
um,
Queens. Okay.
yes, Custody Queens. I believe Ron will be there as well. Mr. Ron Funk, who is a appellate attorney, will be joining them. I think. Don't quote me
Yeah,
on that one.
we've
But
collaborated with them. We've collaborated with them. So I will watch them Monday. Whatever. I'll figure out what the time difference is.
it's 6 p.m. Eastern. I know that,
Okay.
which is my
It's
time.
3 hours
So whatever.
behind you.
Yeah,
All
there
right.
you
So
go.
it'd be
Thank you, Mike.
3 o'clock.
There you
Okay.
go. So make
Okay.
sure you guys all tune in for that as well. But
Okay.
we're not gonna end. But Andrew and Yoli, once again, God bless. I appreciate you both so very much,
Yes.
guys. Make sure
Be
you
well,
are
everyone. Take care.
Okay.
Just-
Bye.
take care, both
Bye,
of you.
guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you both. All right, awesome. Thank you guys so much for allowing us, Mikey. As always, thank you for facilitating this.
Boy, I was late.
Oh, it's okay. It's
There's a
okay.
secret behind that.
So sorry for all of the technical problems we've had today, you guys. I feel
I
bad for you.
apologize. I apologize. It was.
Oh, it's not your
it was
fault.
me. Well, it was my computer. So yeah, I had to.
It's good now, though. We're good now.
Yes, I just had too much data on it, and that stupid. Remember when we had to put the VPNs on? I think that was
Oh.
messing stuff up.
I had to
so,
remove mine.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
same here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to remove mine. It was causing, I don't know, so many things to happen. So
This will
So.
answer a lot. And
Sorry,
Logan, this is
everybody.
why I always say if I don't answer text, call me. Dave, thanks for calling
My
me.
fault.
I
It's
called
my
you.
fault.
So I slipped off into a midday nap and I didn't set an alarm.
It's my fault.
Yep,
I didn't wake
that's
him
why I
up.
always say.
and I told you I was going to call him because I thought something
Yep.
is not normal. He's always
Yeah.
there.
That's
and
what you do. If
You're
We
you
were
don't,
talking about it
Dreamland.
before you jumped on.
message don't
Yep.
work.
It's all good. It is
Call
all good.
I only
if I-
messaged you like 90 times today. What do you mean?
Yeah. If
That's
I
why
don't
I called
answer,
him. I
call
know
me.
him enough to call him. That's why I called him. He doesn't even answer his phone sometimes when you call him if he gets too deep into that sleep. So, hey, I called and he answered, and I'm like, you good? And I could hear in his voice. He was like, yeah, I'll be there shortly. And then, Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we love you, brother. We love
Appreciate you.
you. And
then-
no, I appreciate you facilitating this, Mike. Very
My
awesome.
freaking sound didn't work because I plugged in. I had the wrong USB-C channel going. So, yep. Fumbling.
It happens. It happens. It happens. Thank you everybody that was here for this. I'm sorry I didn't get to get all your questions in. There was a lot, and put 3 channels in here together, and it has a tendency to get a
Yeah.
little bit much. But we'll do it again. We will do it again. Like I said, on down the road, if there is a kerplooey, I will definitely want Andrew and Yoli's input on that and what they're going to be doing. I appreciate it and them so very much. And make sure you guys are subscribed. The links were posted in the chat in all the channels, I believe. If you can, make sure to subscribe to Yoli's channel, Andrew's channel as much. They do great stuff for sure. If you're not subscribed to Bronx Tales True Crime, I don't know what you're doing with your life. You better do it soon. There's the link there, as well as Miss Typically Unique, Miss Kim. Her link is in here somewhere too. And of course, the last 24, this awesome dude sitting next to me. Great production manager. Again, none of these shows would happen if it wasn't for this guy here. This whole show wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for this guy right here.
That's right.
He put the bug in my ear, and was going in another direction, but I thought, what an amazing idea. So thank you to Mike. I always put him on the
Sounds
spot
good.
and embarrass him. So
We're free next week, so
yes, you're just gonna have us next week. So
Yep.
I hope you're okay with that, guys. But
Every Saturday night, 6
You know it.
o'clock.
I love doing it. This is my favorite thing to do. I'm telling you right now. Truly, and you too, Bronx.
Yep.
Same thing.
There goes the bicycle.
Absolutely. So, any last thoughts, feelings, opinions, Miss Logan, before we take off? I see you, Bronxy.
It was a great show. It was a great show. I love the variety of guests that we have on here, so we can ask different questions to different people, and everybody has a different expertise, and it just ends up being really good. And I just really appreciate everybody for always tuning in and being here and asking questions and being present. We just appreciate everybody that tunes in and has the same feelings that we do for this case. So thank you, everybody. You are so appreciated.
I have to agree. Absolutely. Mr. Mike, any last thoughts, sir? I know
Nope,
you hate
just
this.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in and for dealing with our tardiness.
Oh, they stuck around, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's classic.
It is. It is.
I don't
So,
even know what happened before I got here. I was still trying to wake up. Sorry.
Everything was working out good. Everything turned out all right. So thank you again, sir, for your feelings and for facilitation as well, like
Oh,
I
you're
said. And of course, Miss Kim, other than your technical issues,
Look
it
at
was
that
great.
lipstick.
I
Uh-oh.
want to say, I know I went darker. Do you like it?
I do like it.
I want to say thank you to all the unique peeps that joined me tonight. You guys are awesome. And the turtles and the meatballs. You guys are all amazing. We love you all. And I look forward to the show every Saturday, whether it's just us, the core group, talking, or when we bring in these different experts. I agree with Logan. Getting all these different perspectives and this information from different people is just adding to the case and our information about the case. So please keep coming back and joining us.
Agreed. You guys agreed. So very amazing.
Yes.
Real fast, I do want to throw out thank you very much, Mr. Robert, True Crime Unleashed, for that. Congrats on 6 months with the cafe. Appreciate you very much for that as well. Happy
Aw.
anniversary. Thank you, Miss Tara, for that. So very much appreciated. I'm sorry, guys, I have to hold these when we have guests because I don't want to interrupt what they're saying. But thank you, Tara. God bless. We appreciate it very much. Says thanks so much to all the streamers sat up here sorting out our shit for us. So many hours are spent learning facts. For you is more hard. So thanks, heaps, and thank you, Tara. We appreciate you very much as well. Gulf Coast Bum. I don't know where this is from here or any of our channels, but congratulations.
It's from mine. My supers were not working today for some reason. So
That's crappy.
no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, for sure, Gulf Coast. Thank you, of course. Miss Lana joined us here for a little while. She was in here with us. Thank you for that very much. We appreciate you, Lana, as always. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the Truth and Transparency channel because, again, if you're not, what are you doing with your life? Come on now. And there again is another one from Ms. Lana. Yes, you did do a great job with that too, Logan. Very good job.
I figured
as
people
you-
would be interested in it since a lot of people connected them in the beginning
Yeah.
to this case. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You've been doing awesome with the stuff you've been putting out. So thank you for all of it. We appreciate you very much. Lulu don't like lies. Like your name, neither do we. Thank you. Very much appreciated. She's just a devil woman. Thank you for that. Showing my girl some love too. Spoil Lil B. Thank you for that, devil woman. We appreciate you. And that one as well for the cause. Can't have the meatballs drying out. We appreciate you, devil woman. Thank you so much. We've got to keep that sauce nice and juicy. I agree with that. And Miss Sluther dropped 10 Bronx Tales memberships. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sluther.
amazing. Thank
She's
you.
so generous. Yes.
Yeah.
Very much appreciated. She also dropped 10 Bronx Tales, or I'm sorry, typically unique peeps memberships. I always get these confused. My apologies.
Yep.
Very much appreciated for that, Sluther.
Thank
You're
you, Sluther.
so generous. And bam, she dropped, even over here, 20 new meatballs jumping in the sauce with us. Very much amazing. We have 21 new meatballs as of today. I appreciate that so very much, Sluther. You're an angel, and God bless. As well as Miss Christina, member for 2 months. Congratulations on that. Offie's in the house, Scully's. Yeah, gang, member for 2 months. Congratulations, sir. Very much appreciated. Looks like Leslie and Billy became a member. Was that over there with you, Kim, or with you, Logan?
I think that was over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Congrats. 30 Patchy. Congrats at becoming a member. It doesn't matter. We're all one big family. So
Yeah.
whoever you became a part of, congrats, and we're happy to have you. Lenny Mo, same to you as well. Thank you for joining us and for becoming a new member to your channel. Very much appreciated. Miss Sluther dropping $9.99. Thank you so much for that as well. Very generous and very sweet of you. Very much appreciated. Legal Swag was in the house. Appreciate you having Yoli and Andrew on the show. Thank you for the $2 super chat to wherever that went for sure. And again, Miss Lenny became a member somewhere else as well. Very awesome. Love to have you, Lenny. And appreciate you very much. And I think this was the first one dropped. And that was with Miss Logan Onto. Is that how you say it?
On top X.
On top X. I don't know why I can't read that. Thank you for that. Kicking it off for the day. You guys are all amazing. We absolutely love you guys so very much. I'm telling you, this is like my favorite thing to do. I love the verdict room thing. I'm grateful to Mike for putting this in my head. If I could do this 5 days a week, I would do it 5 days a week, but that would be just too much. You guys would get sick of seeing and hearing my face and my voice. So maybe one day it'll be a little bit more, but for now, it is awesome. Any last words at all, anybody?
Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. And
We
with
do.
that, yes. Ms. Logan, nothing more from you?
No, I really enjoyed today.
Good. I'm so happy. I wish Kim would have been able to be more involved, but we'll make it up for next week. We will.
Took me
will.
out of
We
my
were all having
groove.
issues today. It's all right.
Yeah,
Took me out of
Yeah,
my
we were.
groove.
absolutely.
That's
Thank you
okay.
for all of the well wishes from everybody, by the way, to me, because I had a little bit of a thing going on. I appreciate that more than you guys know. It means the world to me. So thank you for that. And with that being said, here's the girl's favorite part of the show.
The verdict is in.
Yeah, boy.
There it is. Have an amazing day, and I will see you soon. We will all see you very soon. Have a great one, guys.
Bye,
We love
guys.
you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming through to the verdict room where we're seeking truth. Yeah, we're seeking truth. Hey. Last 24, they rewind it. True crime heads go find it. Breaking every angle, every track. Bronx telling tales, keeps us on track. Typically unique, never act. Being real, being sharp, being exact. Exposing every secret in the dark. Every little timeline, every mark. Welcome to the verdict room, where we're seeking the truth. Looking for answers, bringing the facts to you. They break it all down. That day goes cafe scenes, working together, throwing revelations at your feet. Oh.
Crime scene chart, they erase that. Put the story back, then replace facts. Looking for the motive in the cracks. Red yarn on the board, then it snaps. Voices in my ear through the week till they hit play. Then we speak. Files on the table, case on the line. They don't just tell it, they define.
Welcome to the verdict room, where we're seeking the truth. Looking for answers, bringing the facts to you. They break it all down. That day goes cafe seats, working together, throwing revelations at your feet. From the Bronx to the world, let it ring. Every missing little detail that they bring. Dropping that gavel when they're done with the beat. Thanks for tapping in. See you next week. Welcome to the verdict room, where we're seeking the truth, looking for answers, bringing the facts to you. They break it all down at Dago's Cafe seats, working together, throwing revelations